Okay, you guys, hold on. I gotta do something. It says the browser has blocked your screen. Do what? Click the screen icon. Hmm. Can I be heard? Can I be heard, Lexus? Great continuation. Can I be heard? Hopefully. I see three of y'all in the chat. Can I be heard? Before I do anything else. It take y'all so long to answer me. Can y'all hear me? Please. Let me see. Okay. I don't know what to say. Can y'all hear me? I'm trying to use something else. So let me see. Can y'all hear the song? Great continuation. Can I be heard? Can y'all hear me? I need to know so I can know what I need to do. Oh, thank you so much, Live and Learn. Peace and love to y'all. Thank you for coming by. Uh-oh, what happened then? That was all that was? Okay. Great continuation. Goddess Pachamama, Alexis, Live and Learn. How y'all doing? I hope y'all had a fantastic journey on this continuation. Cause I definitely did, y'all. I had a wonderful, wonderful ancestral communicative day with nature, with oh my goodness, it's been a beautiful, beautiful time to on this journey. So peace and love and light to y'all. Thank you for coming over. I'm sharing. I'm sharing my truths over here. I don't have anybody else's information but my information. So that's the stuff that I'm bringing to the table. As I always say, for generations ahead, because I'm the seventh generation of my from my great grandma to me. And I got about 6 or 7 great grandchildren that is the 7 great grandchildren from me. So I'm definitely working on the next 7 generations. That's my goal, that's my purpose. And I'm working with my ancestral memory because the only way that we're going to free ourselves is that we are remembering, and we're drawing off the strength of what we know happened. See, um, I know a lot of people ride on what grandmama told them. I can't do that because grandmama didn't tell me. See, I had to be inquisitive. I had to be one of those people. You know how they say, um, it's a great continuation, Chief. How are you? That it's a dangerous person that walks around with a library card. Y'all ever heard that before? it's a yeah. They know if you got a library card, you doing some reading, you doing some researching, you know, and they make sure you have to have interest to get into places like the archives, you know, places like any of these places that they're keeping your records, you know. So yeah, I started out 30 something years ago, about 36, 37 years ago to be exact. So I've been on this journey a long time before people was even thinking about finding records or dibbling and dabbing to go and, you know, get the land patents and stuff. You know, I heard about it and I went straight to it. So when I come on, I'm coming on sharing about me. I'm not telling you that we wasn't, or we this, or we that. I'm just showing you the records that I got to tie me into a lot of this shit that they done did. You know, and I figured if I share it, you know, some of you will see that, you know, it wasn't like they said. It couldn't have been. Because I'm still listening, and that's why I'm live too, because I can't find no substance listening to these other channels. Um, so you know, not to validate with what I already know, because when you see 1424 up there, that's not up there just because I chose a number. That's up there because the numbers chose me. I got go back to 1424. Might be more than that now because I just picked up on 21 on my 21st generation. Just picked up on 5 more people from the 17th generation. So I know I hear a lot of people say fuck paperwork. I mean, I've been doing paperwork so long I could never say that. You know what I'm saying? It would hurt me if all my paperwork just wasn't with me, you know. Because every day I create other paperwork. This is about legacy for me. This is about creating my story. See, because somebody been lying and they never thought that Mama Chief would be here. They never thought I'd come out and do the most unthinkable and find my people. You know, I knew they took my people to Liberia. I always knew that. Before that story even came out that they went to Liberia, I knew they had to take us from here because I did my DNA or whatever they want to call it. I did that thing. And I know how to read it. I know how to decipher it. I know what it means. So all that scared shit, ain't scared to live. You ain't scared for nothing. Can't be scared by a little drop of spit. But it really helped me because it gave me 127,000 living relatives that matched that same DNA. And guess what? From across the water to over here. Okay? Yeah. I got relatives that never came to America's soil. What they call Black European, I call them copper color. You know, because I don't use the word black for none of my relatives. Right? But anyway, I ain't going to talk too much right now because I want to show y'all something else that I pulled up on right before I was getting ready to come on the live, because I'm going to share some of my people. Hopefully they might even be your people. Because listen, I come from a great line of people. Let me just sit up straight and give honor to the kings and queens and the chieftains and the architectures and all the builders and all the people that I come from. 22 straight generations of it. Very proud of them. Let me just say that first. Very honored to know that I come from a great people. because all my life I knew it. And all my life, somebody been trying to keep me from getting to that destiny to where I am today. And at this point, nothing can stop me but death. Like I tell y'all all the time, I'll die for this because a lot of people died. A lot of our people lost their life for this. And if ain't nobody furious about it but me, I'm sorry, I'll take it all. But I'm not standing, I'm not waking up every day playing this game. I'm not. I know why I'm not with a bunch of people and a lot of people don't follow up on me. Because it ain't going to take a lot. Because the ancestors already working on things with and, through me. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? I mean, sometime today I love to tell this little story. I had 2 visitors to come to see me today. And it was an awesome thing because, I have birds make nests on my porch. I have bees make those nests on my porch. So I'm always surrounded around something trying to be around me. And when I go outside, the bees they love to just come and hang up under me. And I'd be like, wait, right? Because I've been stung before. But today, I had a visitor. And it was 2 visitors. One was named Caterpillar and one was named Butterfly. And it was so it was so amazing because the caterpillar was crawling down the column on my porch. And I just went to talking to it, how beautiful it was and how great it was to see. Because, with the world the way it is, and all the poisons and all of this and all of that, I'm in awe when I see the birds and the butterflies and the little things still flying around. It gives me hope. It let me know I can make it too, right? I don't know about nobody else, but it lets me know I can make it too. So I questioned to find out if I could, if you could really keep a caterpillar, because I took it away and it came back. So then at that junction, I was want to know, how could you really keep it? Because I really would love to have seen it morph and go into a butterfly. But at the end of the day, I let it go. But before I did take it away, because it wouldn't go away on its own, it just kept coming back to me. But this butterfly came, and the butterfly was the same color as the caterpillar. Y'all hear me? And it wasn't the biggest. He looked like he was small. So it showed me how y'all, you got to understand what I'm saying. But it was like the ancestors was giving me the sign that I needed to know that I'm never, 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 never alone, and that it was an emotional time for me. I don't know if anybody feel me here, but I don't, harm nothing. I don't hurt nothing. And I try to be true to my own self, right? So then I looked out the window, there go a deer. And I'm like, deers don't even come over here. I forgot about the deer. I had 3. Yeah, deers don't even really come over here. But the deer was right outside my window. So, I mean, y'all, we don't need a lot of people. The point that I'm making. We just need you. You just need you. And to make sure that you don't leave your story untold. Because if you do, somebody else will tell and they won't tell the truth. So let me see, can I start up this video? I want to share some of, and yeah, y'all, let's get it. Let's see. Share this tab. You with him? Come on up in here. Let's see what we're working with. UB is I've been knowing him a long time. And he's doing American is the Egypt. Okay, y'all, we've heard that so many times. So let's see what kind of nuggets he could be dropping. Because we found out so many truths mixed up in these lives. Let's see what you got going on. I ain't gonna play it all.
That door in the Sphinx. Does the library of that knowledge lie?
I think there is extraordinarily powerful evidence to suggest that this is so. If you were amongst the survivors of a high civilization and your civilization had been destroyed in an enormous cataclysm, and you wanted somehow to keep the memory of your civilization preserved and to pass down the knowledge to the future. And you might particularly want to do that if you believe passionately in the reincarnation of the soul, by the way.
Shout out to those who's in the chat, it's Fabi, y'all. Shout out to y'all. Elevation, y'all, elevation.
America has always been historically referred to as the New World. But was it though?
Was it?
Why didn't they care to teach the ancient history of America while we were in school? Except for those deceptive fables of the civilized tribes. The only history we were taught began in 1492.
Yep.
It's almost like the history of America didn't exist before then.
Sharon, you up in here.
What was going on before 1492?
Let's see. Them right. Those the pictures they show.
Now, if you have
right
the calcified
now.
charlatans tell you not much. Just a group of TP-dwelling savages who made crude pottery and could barely even construct even the most elementary civilizations. And those meager civilizations are definitely not worth mentioning in history class. If it wasn't Babylon, ancient Egypt, Greece, or Rome, then history wasn't worth studying according to them. And yet the histories of Babylon, Egypt, Greece, or Rome are supposed to be connected to them via their knowledge of ancient history.
Y'all. That's what they gave us, right? That's how they fooled us with this type of shit.
How could the supposedly most advanced civilization in the world lose over 1,000 years of their own established history?
Now they got us. They hoodwinked us, y'all.
If Egypt fell under the jurisdiction of Rome, and in the last days of the Holy Roman Empire, where during the colonial era, why did they need the Rosetta Stone to decipher the language that they should have already known?
Because they were lying.
Could these people be tricksters who are constantly changing information to alter history?
Come on, y'all. Did they?
It's not just about deception, it's about controlling the narrative and taking credit for other people's achievements.
We're going to break them narratives over here.
In addition to falsifying history.
Break the narrative.
They'll have you believing that they built everything in America and every large city in America that now sits. When in reality,
tell them,
most of the large cities on the continent were ancient cities that were built upon after colonialism.
Ooh. Come on, y'all. Where y'all at? Oh, it's just three of y'all. Y'all, I forgot. Ain't no drama over here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
For years, we've been having this Pan-African switcheroo going on where Black people have totally bought into the idea that they came from Africa.
Yes.
And to compound this, there are agents on both sides to perpetuate the theory and develop an entire psyop behind it. You'll hear things like Africa had a rich history of civilization and world contributions. In the history of West Africa, where supposedly Black Americans are from, is there a fraction of the history written into its land or culture or genetics? When I refer to history being written on the land in its culture, What are the oldest bodies in the ground, in the land? And what are the works that surround the oldest bodies in the land? It's almost ironic how the oldest signs of any humanity on the continent of Africa are hybrid ape species. And yet sub-Saharan Africans have none of this DNA. So if all mankind supposedly descended from hominin species out of Africa, why is it that the oldest populations of so-called Africans don't have any of this hominin DNA? It's like I've said before. If you believe that you evolved from an ape in Africa, but the concept of America being Egypt and the ancient Holy Land is unbelievable, then this may not be the message for you.
Okay, for real.
So we probably do not operate on the same frequency. You're probably vaccinated and have already been pumped full of chimpanzee adenovirus, simian virus 40,
so sad,
and other monkey DNA through your blind compliance to the powers that you swear you don't worship, but obey as though they're your God. It's already in your DNA.
Child.
So indeed, you may be the smartest ape in the jab line.
You got down with no. Oh my goodness. You got down with no. Oh my goodness. Like that. Yeah, I have some quarters in this chat, y'all. We like information, but we like narrative. So, I'm tired.
Why are the oldest humans found in the Americas? And why are the oldest Homo erecti found in Africa? Naya, found in the Maya territory of the Yucatan, Luzia, found in Brazil, were both Black women in America, with features classified as African. But this was at a time when the Siberians hadn't made it to America first yet. So what explains their presence in the Americas? Not to mention Clyde Perry, the South Carolina man with the world's oldest Y-DNA male genetics. Meanwhile, the oldest hominin species, such as Homo erectus and Homo afarensis and other species in that order that are considered the oldest progenitors of mankind, are scattered throughout the entirety of the African continent, north and south of the Sahara line. These erect Homo and Australopithecine are all progenitors of Neanderthal, of which so-called sub-Saharan Africans have zero DNA. How is this possible? The term sub-Saharan African DNA is a misnomer in itself. It implies that it includes the entirety of the sub-Saharan African continent. But it doesn't. Sub-Saharan DNA specifically applies to the little pocket in West Africa where supposedly all American blacks descend from. Yet the oldest Y DNA is from Clyde Perry, a supposed black man in South Carolina. The rest of the African continent is comprised of populations with varying amounts of Neanderthal DNA.
Wait a minute, did y'all see the date 1867?
Now, if American blacks are supposedly from this pocket in West Africa
we ain't seen no
and also have a rich history, then my question would be, what history is that? Are you personally familiar with the history of West Africa, the documented history of West Africa, or the indigenous legends of West Africa? Or have you been spoon-fed misinformation by a litany of brainwashed pro-black Pan-African race hustlers who swear they hate the white man, but accept his information as gospel?
Slave catchers.
And when you tell them that you're not African, you're American, they will tell you that you hate yourself. Imagine the mindfuckery at play, especially from a person who accepts the fact they descend from a monkey. So what of all of this rich history from West Africa, from which American Negroes are descended? What history is that? Are you familiar with the oldest archaeological sites in West Africa? Are you familiar with the oldest archaeological sites in South Africa? Are you familiar with the oldest documented history of West Africa? And if you are familiar, exactly what part of that history was so rich? And exactly what part of that history applies to you?
No.
There are only a fraction of the archaeological sites and civilizational distribution in comparison. There is barely a trace of innovation in that area where they say Negroes descend. Furthermore, sites like Iwo Iliru show signs of erect homos, a divergent species that are not related to American Negroes who were supposedly living there since the existence of man. And if geographic proximity and sexual selection are the two key factors in the genetics of men, how is it possible that quote unquote sub-Saharan Negroes have none of this erect homo DNA?
Thank goodness.
Well, that wasn't until colonialism.
I ain't got none of that.
They used the out of Africa theory to trick people into adopting the monkey to man theory blindly. Then they packaged it with the Siberian ice migration theory and taught it in schools. And once you learned this theory, you were considered smart.
Verified.
Head of the class.
Research the research. That's what we do.
But you can go ahead and chuck that syllabus in the trash.
That they ancestors.
Because if you can believe their bullshit your entire life, you can listen to my bullshit for a few more minutes.
Listen alone. Somebody probably came in and said, they talking about America's Egypt. No, we talking about it's the land of everything. Oh, one of the matter. We're not trying to say that old Moorish. I didn't try to say it. Shout out to you, Dave Triple. AKA European. Yeah, them girls.
Now, how does all this relate to America being Egypt? A synonym for Egypt is the word bondage. What part of America did the most so-called Africans end up in bondage? If all Africans from this pocket in West Africa ended up in America, by which port did they embark on the continent?
What you gonna say?
We go back to the deep, dirty South, the port of New Orleans, to the portion of the continent with the highest concentration of supposedly enslaved Africans. We also detail the ancient civilizations and tribes who inhabited that region to see if there's any connection between America and Egypt.
Emerald mine, that's the He better not talk about that daggone glass building because I got something for that. Got something for that glass building, y'all. Y'all see all the mountains? They done fly them up.
As mentioned in earlier episodes, there are several archaeological sites in the Americas, specifically North America, that are older than the Egyptian pyramids. Dating back over 5,000 years, the supposed construction date of the pyramids is around 4,700 years ago. In North America, these archaeological sites are concentrated along the Mississippi Valley, with the oldest sites being in Louisiana, according to the commonly held narrative of the scholars. What most people don't know is that there are even more sites that are unaccounted for because they have literally been destroyed and built upon.
Mm-hmm.
We've detailed cities like Kansas City, St. Louis, and Memphis, just to name a few, but there are far more that we have yet to mention. And although these cities may have new names, they are still ancient cities.
That's true.
And yet no one seems to know anything about them. If we were just to compare parallel locations, New Orleans, Louisiana would be the Alexandria, Egypt of America. Sitting at the mouth of the Mississippi, aka the Euphrates, mistitled as the Nile. This location is at the entrance
for real
of the Egyptian Sea, aka Gulf of America. As previously mentioned, the mouth of the Great River cannot be at the Mediterranean Sea and also at the Great Sea and western border of Lebanon. This is a biblical geographic contradiction. Not only is the Mediterranean not the Great Sea, which is obviously the Pacific Ocean, the largest body of water on Earth, and western border of the true Lebanon on the west coast of America, as distinguished by the oldest and tallest trees in the world, as referenced in several passages in the Old Testament, but it is also not the Egyptian Sea, because the misnomered Nile does not have the 7 streams, as referenced in Isaiah. Be all this as it may, the importance of this location specifically is the fact that the city lies at the mouth of the Mississippi. The reason why the French are so important is because they were the first Europeans to colonize this area and are essential to the heist of ancient Egypt and the information regarding its history. During the French supposed invasion of Egypt in the Middle East, they discovered a lost history of Egypt that no one Arab historian cared enough to even study or translate in over 1,000 years. Does it even make sense that France was the first to translate the Egyptian language or its history? Even the sense of being a lost civilization is a contradiction as well. Not only was Egypt a Roman province, it was a Byzantine province after that. Not to mention King Louis IX went to war in Egypt. All of these people from Europe should have known how to read hieroglyphics at the very least, but they didn't even paint pictures of the pyramids. You know, art existed at the time, but the fact that nobody even cared to draw a pyramid is nasty work. Search medieval paintings of pyramids from over 1,000 years ago and see if any exist. And do it fast before AI starts changing history by going back and adding bullshit to cover their tracks. Of the hundreds of thousands to millions of people that lived in Cairo, a Roman city, a blind bird's eye view less than 3 miles from Giza for thousands of years. Since the Greco-Roman era, nobody knew shit and nobody drew shit. And when they did actually start making art depicting the pyramids, it was this shit. And this shit. And this shit. And what the fuck is this shit?
Wow,
the world has the French to thank for all this new undiscovered history, right after they spoiled the Indians and double-crossed them in land treaties. Ironic, don't you think?
That's money, Papa. Hey, great gentlemen, public. How you doing for the Mr.
Now, how exactly the French were able to stake a claim to a land they didn't actually own or inhabit is a wild mystery in itself.
It's good to see.
But it's also very essential in understanding their war tactics. Even crazier is the fact that through the French claim to the vast land in the middle of America, Napoleon was supposedly the largest landowner in America without ever having stepped foot on the continent.
See what I'm talking about?
At this point, it's not even a wild speculation to question the outright existence of Napoleon in general. I mean, really, it seems like Napoleon was everywhere and nowhere at the same damn time. How difficult could it have been to fabricate a mythical, non-existent war hero ghost character at the time when long-distance communication was at the breakneck speed of one horse?
I like that big screen.
It's ironic. That's how the Rothschilds became rich during a war fought by Napoleon.
Y'all hear that? The Rothschilds.
But I digress. It's important to note, it must be understood that after the transfer of Louisiana territory to the Americans, the Americans were under no obligation to honor any treaties that the Indians had previously made with the French.
Y'all see that? Y'all see that? Can y'all see what
all of these treaties between supposedly different European nations concerning the lands that were being inhabited by Indians were initiated under the notion that the Indians would be killed or enslaved if not in compliance, and the land would be taken by force. This was a gentleman's agreement made by Europeans amongst themselves, not to interfere in each other's plans to subjugate the Indians and steal their land.
What time frame we in?
Remember, the Treaty of Fontainebleau was a secret agreement between Louis XV of France and Charles of Spain, that France would give Spain the country known as Louisiana, as well as New Orleans. Louis XV of France and Charles III of Spain were cousins. They did this before the resolution of the French-Indian War in 1763. They did this before losing the eastern half of their supposed territory from the Mississippi River to the Appalachian Mountains. After the war, the French war refugees migrated south to the French-controlled territory in Louisiana, only to find out it was ruled by Spain. They got bamboozled by their own king, whose only request for the exchange of free land was to assure the safety of French Catholics in Louisiana. As you can see, they're playing war games with a serious pattern of duplicitous treaties, vast amounts of land being traded in a bloodless war.
Come on, y'all.
So how did France end back up owning Louisiana territory? Recall the Third Treaty of San Ildefonso, another secret agreement between France and Spain, in which Spain would trade the entire Louisiana territory for territories in Tuscany. So to put this into perspective, the entire Louisiana territory is over 800,000 square miles.
Wow.
And the entirety of Tuscany is only 8,000 square miles.
Dang.
Louisiana territory is literally 100 times bigger than Tuscany. So if you thought the Treaty of Fontainebleau was crazy, this treaty, the Third Treaty of San Ildefonso, is even crazier. After the American Revolution and eventually after the Louisiana Purchase, the Indians were essentially usurped by the Americans, who were more responsible than the French were for destroying the mounds, while the French were more liable for the larceny and branding.
That's the narrative. Narrative.
I want to mention LaSalle. LaSalle is almost a mythical figure in the colonization of Louisiana. Quote Charlton's Web. René Robert Cavalier, Sieur de LaSalle, was a 17th century French explorer and fur trader in North America. He explored the Great Lakes region of the United States and Canada and the Mississippi River. He is best known for an early 1682 expedition in which he canoed the lower Mississippi River from the mouth of the Illinois River to the Gulf of Mexico. So they're saying that he canoed from the Illinois River to the Gulf of Mexico
again?
In 1682.
I ain't gonna mess with it, y'all. I want the names.
There on April 9th, 1682, he claimed the Mississippi River Basin for France.
Okay, I'm finna find it. 1682.
After giving it the name La Louisiane in honor of St. Louis, Louis IX, and Louis XIV. One source states that he acquired France, the most fertile half of the North American continent. A later ill-fated expedition in 1687 to the Gulf Coast of Mexico, today the U.S. state of Texas, gave the United States a putative claim to Texas in the purchase of the Louisiana Territory from France in 1803. LaSalle was assassinated during that expedition. So he was assassinated trying to explore the Gulf Coast. Although Joliet and Marquette preceded him on the upper Mississippi in their journey of 1673 and 74, LaSalle extended exploration and France's claim all the way to the river's mouth. Although the existing historical evidence does not indicate that LaSalle ever reached the Ohio Allegheny Valley. And I just wanted to read this part because I thought it was interesting. The Seneca told LaSalle of a great river called the Ohio, which flowed into the sea, the Vermilion Sea. So do you think that possibly there was some sort of catastrophe that actually changed the ways that the river flows? Is there any way that the Colorado could have connected to a tributary of the Mississippi? At some point, did the land change and allow a direct trip from the Mississippi to the Red Sea, aka Baja California? And all that basically would mean is that
Tell me about when
the watersheds between the Colorado and the Mississippi at some point would combine, maybe somewhere around the Red River,
and go up,
or possibly the Missouri, or possibly the Arkansas, really. So I did just want to give you the background on LaSalle, who's this mythical figure who was assassinated on his expedition, but he also claimed the mouth of the Mississippi for France. So you see these games they're playing. He can claim it just because he claimed to navigate it. I also want to mention Alabama, Mobile and Biloxi in particular. Those two cities are both early French operations in this area along the Gulf Coast. They have their own rivers and watershed, and those rivers led inland to the states of Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and Mississippi. And all of those civilizations are an empire themselves. And that area requires its own episode. So for the purposes of time, I like to keep this discussion geographically limited to this particular area around the lower Mississippi region, because the other area deserves its own episode. And there's no way to really give it the amount of attention it deserves in this episode. New Orleans was one of the most important French possessions on the mainland continent due to its ancient and strategic location. It wasn't the first possession on the mainland. They had already set up colonies in the north, in Acadia, Quebec, and Montreal. But the southern end of the Mississippi was an enormous feat for the French on the continent. In 1701, the French built a fort directly on top of a mound located on the south end of Lake Pontchartrain in present-day New Orleans. Placed at an elevated location on the lake's edge, this fort was key for defense purposes and controlling trade upstream.
Anybody lives near that fort? Come on.
Quote from FEMA.
Look, y'all, how
fucking everybody, millions at a time. Mm-hmm. New Orleans, pottery sherds, animal bones, and pieces of clay tobacco pipes are among the items recently discovered by a team of archaeologists under contract to the FEMA agency surveying land near Bayou St. John in New Orleans. It was a bit of a surprise to find this, says FEMA Louisiana Recovery Office Deputy Director of Programs Andre Cadogan. I mean, what a title. Referencing a small broken pottery fragment. Oh, it was a bit of a surprise to find pottery. We clearly discovered pottery from the late Marksville period, which dates 300 to 400 AD.
And bones,
the pottery was nice, easily dateable. They knew that. We can date this shit easy. It was 1,500 years ago. We know this. 400 AD, lock it in. Easily dateable and much earlier than we expected, much earlier. This is exciting news for historians and tribal communities as it represents some of the only intact prehistoric remains of its kind south of Lake Pontchartrain. So that's some nice stuff. I wonder what does it look like? What is it? The Bayou St. John spot holds a prominence in New Orleans history throughout the years, serving as the location of a Native American occupation. A French fort, a Spanish fort, an American fort, a resort hotel, and then an amusement park. I wonder how many other mounds or cities this has happened to.
I have a few.
A French fort, a Spanish fort, an American fort, a resort hotel, and then an amusement park. Through a series of shovel tests and methodological excavation, the archaeologists discovered evidence of the early Native Americans, the colonial period, and the hotel. The historical record tells us that the shell midden or mound, okay, so now it's a shell midden or mound. You see how they say this? Okay, so a shell midden actually implies debris.
Never heard of that.
So these shell mounds were used as debris mounds by the indigenous Americans. So on one hand,
Homeland
it was like a big pile of trash when they call it a shell midden, but they find pottery that was nice and easily dateable in the trash pile, all right? So just be careful with the terminology they use to decide what is what.
Absolutely.
The historical record tells us that the shell midden or mound created by the Native American occupation was destroyed by the French when they built their fort here. Destroyed by the French when they built their fort here, says Cadogan. However, we've discovered that through archaeology, rather than destroy the midden, the French cut the top off of it and used it as a foundation for their fort. FEMA's work near Bayou St. John is part of an agreement with the State Historic Preservation Office, Indian tribes, and the state to perform archaeological surveys of parks and public land in the city of New Orleans. It falls under FEMA's Environmental and Historic Preservation Program, which evaluates historical and environmental concerns that may arise from projects funded by federal dollars. FEMA hazard mitigation funding was used for thousands of home elevations and reconstructions throughout Louisiana, rather than evaluate every property for archaeological remains. A nearly impossible task, which is probably true. FEMA, the State Historic Preservation Office, and various consulting parties signed an agreement which allowed FEMA to conduct alternate studies, such as the archaeological surveys. So yeah, FEMA, they're doing archaeology now, guys. Listen to this. The surveys do not offset potential destruction of archaeological resources on private property from the home mitigations, but also give us a leg up on any future storms. So the surveys don't offset potential destruction of archaeological resources on private property, but it also gives us a leg up on any future storms. We are helping the state of Louisiana learn about its history as well as provide information that leads to preparedness for the next event, says Cadogan. And it goes on to say some other crap. So FEMA, in coordination with the State Historic Preservation Office and Indian tribes, have identified the areas to be surveyed. Once field studies are completed, all of the artifacts are analyzed and recorded. The state.
Now, y'all, we right at 34 minutes of this video, and it is, in fact, an hour and 34 minutes. So, I just want to know how y'all feel about it. Y'all want to watch any more of it, or y'all want me to just go in on my spiel? Because, I'm enjoying it with you guys, just hanging out to keep myself from getting messed in my energy, right? I'm doing a live to hang out with y'all that want to hang out with me. So how y'all feel about watching some more of this? I think it's very interesting because we don't know anything about other places. You know, we tend to be about where we're from, right? But our people is from all over this place. And those mounds right there that he's talking about, I got I got one over here in one of my books. I probably pull it out while they're still talking and share with y'all that particular mound. And because it's out here where I live, it's the Etowah. Y'all done heard of the Etowah? They call it Etowah, whatever. But they went through that mound, and I have the documentation about what they found, what they did. They still use it as a what you call it, a tourist, site. Um, the Walmart right here, and I told y'all before, check your Walmart, y'all, because your very Walmart, if you look, you'll see it look like it be like on a hill. All Walmarts, I'm telling you, I've done the golf course, your Six Flags over Georgia, even the Indiana Speed Race in Georgia, in Atlanta. That was a major food land. Nothing but food was on these places, on like Six Flags. Um, and I just discovered this 19 gold deports right here in my community. So to me, these are the things that they've hidden from us. These are the things that we knew were here at once upon a time. But because if gold came out the earth one time, 100 years ago, I'm sure they can get some more. I'm sure it's still there now. But we don't know about it because these enemies are keeping us from their knowledge. But when I say we need to have us some exploring teams, we need to have some wise men in the midst of us. We need to have some some wise, discerning women in the midst of us. This is a time that we as a people need to be having what we need in the midst of us, because it's about your history. No, your story, not his story. Let me just get that clear. It's about your story, not his story. About my story. They made our story a mystery, man. So if we don't do nothing about it, nobody will. So I'm gonna see what y'all said in the chat. Turned it into a tourist attraction. Yeah, they did Town Creek Indian Mound like that. Yeah, that's what they do with these mounds. Okay, you here, sis. Oh, thank you so much, my sister. Appreciate y'all. However you want to do it. All right, y'all. Hey, I appreciate all that. It's up to you, Mama Chi. We here. Hey, y'all. I appreciate y'all so much for chiming in with me. That gave me so much energy right now. So we're gonna look at some more of this, and I'm gonna find the one that I have while he's talking. Okay, you guys, appreciate y'all hanging out with me, keeping me out of trouble, y'all. Y'all doing it.
Preservation Office will become stewards of the information. The State Historic Preservation Office will become stewards of the information.
You can see it good.
So whatever they find during the little project, new archaeological information, they'll pass it over to the state. And I'm sure the state will act responsibly with whatever new information they decide to steward. New Orleans, built over mound. They say it was a shell mound. Say it was a shell midden. Essentially a debris mound. Yet they find nice pottery that's easily dateable in a trash mound. All right. End quote. FEMA. Fucking everybody, millions at a time. Of course, New Orleans wasn't the only city in this area built upon an ancient civilization. This entire area in the lower Mississippi Delta region was a virtual Egypt in America. And it was systematically destroyed in a targeted effort by the government to conceal and destroy history. There are several key players in the destruction and suppression of these civilizations, their monuments, and their histories in the Mississippi Valley. Most notably, the Smithsonian.
No,
But
they
other
ain't
groups
built
hold
them.
their own blame as well, such as the state highways,
They got
railroads, the Army Corps of Engineers, FEMA, planters, and the massive and clandestine campaign to plow them down and erase their histories during Western expansion by the common man. When I was doing research on this video and other research about this history in general, I came across a few names associated with the French in particular. And many of these French names reminded me of the video game Red Dead Redemption.
I don't know nothing about video games.
I don't know if y'all have ever played that game. Think GTA on horseback. So rather than having shootouts with the cops on the game, you have shootouts with U.S. Marshals, bounty hunters, and Pinkertons. And actually, Pinkerton is a historically accurate name for the late 1800s version of the FBI. The Pinkerton Detective Agency investigated high-level criminals and was even used as Secret Service.
These movies
In
right
the game,
here,
Lemoyne, a fictional territory, is basically the state of Louisiana.
Movies and circles and stuff.
And the largest city in the game is a city called Saint Denis, which is completely modeled off of New Orleans.
Almost my name.
Many people say that Saint Denis is a historically accurate model of New Orleans during the late 1800s. But the thing that I found most interesting when I was researching
that's a graveyard,
was all of the history and accurate parallels. Both Lemoyne and Saint Denis are real life figures. They're actually some of the most instrumental figures in the French colonization of Louisiana. Born in Montreal to a French merchant father, some historians have considered the Lemoyne brothers, Pierre and Jean-Baptiste, the actual founders of Louisiana, Biloxi, and New Orleans. Jean-Baptiste was involved in the Chickasaw uprisings in Memphis at Fort Assumption. And he was also present for the establishment of Fort Rosalie in Natchez.
What time it was?
Natchez, Mississippi actually has a parallel city in the game as well. The town of Van Horn is a recreation of Natchez. And this includes the Under the Hill district below the bluffs on the shoreline along the Lanahatchee, aka Mississippi River.
It has something to do with Louisiana.
Saint Denis, the largest city in the game, is named after Louis Juchereau Saint Denis, another French explorer from Quebec, who explored lower Louisiana west of the Mississippi and erected the Fort Saint Jean-Baptiste in Natchitoches, Louisiana. The name Saint Denis could also be an homage to the martyr Saint Denis, the bishop and friends who was persecuted and decapitated sometime in the 3rd century. In the game, the state flag of Lemoyne has a depiction of the headless bishop holding his decapitated head. So throughout the process of researching this particular video, I actually remember several names from the game Red Dead Redemption that are found to be historically accurate and relevant to the history of Louisiana, to the point that I actually looked these people up. And I'm saying all that to say this. I believe some of these games really be dropping secret gems.
Mm-hmm. You just did. You just shared that. Now hold up, before he go any further, and I understand the concept that he's showing us. I hope y'all do. Some people dropped in and thought I was over here trying to make America be Egypt, but I don't do that kind of stuff. I didn't know how he was gonna spin it, but I'm grateful how he did it, because the land over here is, you know, what we know it to be, the richness of everything, right? But y'all saw that picture of the pictures, and see, that's what I'm here to break narrative. Them pale-skinned folks, them cartoon people, them painted artistry that they had, them wig wearing, no, I ain't about that. We gonna see. So I say, tell me about the copper colored John Baptiste, who had something to do with Louisiana. Look, y'all know I fish for what I need, right? Let's see how it's gonna spin it. That's a powerful thread to pull, Mama Chief Powhatan, especially with your eye for ancestral memory and submerged truth. Let's trace this copper-colored John Baptiste through the waters of Louisiana layered past. Copper-colored identity in Louisiana. In early colonial Louisiana, the term copper color was often used to describe indigenous people and free people of color. Those of African, native, and sometimes they ain't talking about the native that they talk about today, y'all. Y'all heard that, right? Let's be clear. Because yeah. And sometimes European descent. Are we clear? Every time we hear European, let's not think about them pale skin because they don't put that in our face all the time. You see him doing it even in his presentation. And I would look for better from that. I would look for you to be telling us, no, them was Negroes. About this time. Stop playing. Okay, this is them still hitting that narrative to make us think Caucasian people was running around here doing this to us. So, Native and sometimes European descent. These communities was deeply rooted in places like St. John, the Baptist parish, which became a stronghold for Creoles of color. Come on, y'all. Maroons. What color's maroon? They dark-skinned people. Because they are known to be the Africans that were slaves that got away or freed or whatever. Okay? And indigenous families who resisted reclassification. So who we talking about here? Okay, let's go. St. John the Baptist. Now I see what they gonna fin. Oh no, it's got it in here. I was gonna say, hold it, don't. It didn't have the E on it, so I was gonna say, wait a minute, you didn't give me what I wanted. So, but wait a minute, we going. St. John the Baptist Parish, a ceremonial crossroad. The parish was part of the German coast. Now we talking about some Germans, y'all. Do y'all care to find out whether these was Germans or them Caucasians that they gonna show us? I do. You had the German coast, but it also held what? Indigenous settlements and free black communities long before and after French colonization. Y'all with me in this chat? We breaking narratives over here. So this German coast wasn't nothing but indigenous people. Free black community long before and after French colonization. That makes something sound different, don't it? Let me see. Well, I'm talking to y'all. Let me see where y'all at. Royaland, how you doing, love? Great to see you. I didn't either, baby. I did not watch cartoons that much. I thought they was goofy, Three Stooges and all that. No. I didn't do that either. I guess we got that same energy. I wasn't about that. Honey. Woo! Who got him holding his own head? What's it say? Oh my goodness. Okay. So see y'all all right in the chat. Peace, love, and light to all of y'all. Thank you for coming over. Appreciate the 13 that's in the chat. Wolverine up in here. Hey, love. It's good to see y'all. That's what's up. Listen, I'm trying to stay out of trouble, y'all. I'm going to come over here and break some narratives instead of going listening to some of the stuff I've been hearing the last few days. So, y'all, I'm here because I need to be. Because if I don't, I'm going to go off into some deep stuff. You was outside riding dirt bike? Oh, yeah, you have fun? I've never been on a dirt bike. Yeah, I probably wouldn't get on now with my little old tired butt, Now I better stay off the dirt bikes. But I love motorcycles though. Okay, let's see. So are y'all clear that in Louisiana, the Germantown settlement was indigenous settlement and free black communities long before and after French colonization? What that mean to you? They didn't say nothing about no Caucasian. They said nothing about no Caucasian. It says the area saw intermarriage between native, African, and here we go, European people. That's them black European, y'all. Okay? That's them Germans who they see. You see how they flip the name around? Germans right here, but then they're gonna come back and say the European, then they're gonna come back and say the French colonization. All those people saying, you see what I'm saying, y'all? We cannot be confused with these names they flipping on us. Okay? So the area saw intermarriage between Native Africans and European people, black European. I got to throw it in now. Copper color European. I got to put it in there, y'all, because we listen. We got to change the tell lie vision, because it done told our vision a lie, and our ears and our heart and our mind just, we repeats a lot of this stuff. So every time I say European, y'all, I'm going to automatically say black or copper color to make sure you reiterate it to you, because these niggas, these grown people who still teaching this, they still keep, every time somebody say European, I don't think, Bubba, oh, the white man. Stop it. Because every time you say he white, you say you black, and that right there don't fly with me. So you giving him prestige over you every time you call him white man? No, call him German, call him Russian, call him anything but white. I mean, that's just put yourself in a low budgeted place that you ain't even supposed to never thought yourself to be. So it says when they married, they create. Oh snap! Drop the phone on you. I'm sorry, y'all. It says when they married, creating a unique cultural and genetically blend. Some families in this region carried names like John Baptiste, DIT, Dupuis, Dupuis, or John Baptiste DuPont. I'm sorry, John Baptiste Point Du. Ooh, I want is that DuPont. Ooh, wait. See, that's how I be getting these downloads, y'all. I be getting these downloads, and I go straight to researching, and I find out something. John Baptiste Point DuPont. DuPont. Okay. I ain't gonna mess with that right now. Names that echo across Louisiana and into the Midwest. So these names are names that are tied to people that are definitely in our tree. I got plenty of people from out that way. So possible figures to explore. John Baptiste D. Point D. Sable is the last name. Though more famously tied to the Chicago. More famously tied to the Chicago too, y'all. Okay? Go figure, the people from Mississippi went to where? Where did the people from Mississippi go, y'all? Didn't they flood the Mississippi? And the people from Chicago end up in Mississippi? So John Baptiste was part of Mississippi, but famously tied to Chicago as well. Some oral traditions suggest he had Louisiana roots and may have passed through or had kin in the region. Okay, that's the one we're talking about, right? It says John Baptiste's family in St. John Parish got some census records from 1700, y'all. That means they got there in 1700, y'all. 1790. Look, them 1790 free white folks on the census. All right. Okay, 1790, because they line come in 1700s to the 1800s. We're talking about 100 years right now. And then, what they said, these the French, right? Yeah, French Huguenots. That's their time, 1700. Spanish didn't come to the 1800. The black European England one, they came in the 1600. Timeline, y'all. If we keep the timeline together, we won't lose. Okay? So here we go. It says it too. Census records from the 1700s. I didn't even read it, y'all. From the 1700s to the 1800s show free men of color. What? But they also showed that they had free white men, and they were also the free men of color. They were also black colored men, in other words. The free white men was. I showed y'all the census, right? Remember I showed y'all the census of my great granddaddy and his wife having slaves, okay? Having slaves and being free white people in 1790, 1800. By the 1900, they was back to being Negroes with nothing. But in the 1700s, they had land and everything. So how that worked? It's some of this stuff. I ain't gonna say it right now, but some of this stuff I'm researching. Some of this stuff, like I said, narratives got to be broken, y'all. I can get the question in some records. I can get the question a lot of stuff. If it don't fit right, if it don't line up, I will listen. I will research it to it line up. So, with the name John Baptiste living in the area, some of whom were landowners. Here we go, y'all. This is what I'm talking about. Traders, or skilled artisans. But remember, y'all, we talking about Germantown, right? Don't forget, this is Germantown with all these indigenous, African, and copper color people, right? It says hidden lineage and reclassified names. Wow. It's possible the John Baptiste you're referring to was reclassified, renamed, or absorbed into colonial records under a different identity. Many copper color ancestors were renamed in baptismal records, listed as property or erased from maps, especially if they held land or spiritual authority. If you're sensing a connection between a copper colored John the Baptist, no, okay, let me be clear. No, John Baptiste is who I'm looking for. Clarify his lineage. Okay. All right, you guys. Yes, the 1788 census was ratified under George Washington first term as president as a constitutional mandate. Whatever that was right there by George Washington. He, Jefferson, Madison, Hamilton, they all are in my lineage. So all the Caucasians they done showed us over these years could not possibly be and one of them sniggers. Let's be clear to that. They been playing, honey. Yes, ma'am. That's him. That's him. That's the same one from Louisiana. The same one. Yes, ma'am. That's him. So these people have just got here in 1903. Is the people now that's orchestrating all of this black and white stuff now. We gotta, as evidence of national prosperity and progress, a try. I don't know about that. Never heard of what you're putting in the chat, but anyway, let me go back over here and put this back on, you guys. Let me see. Did I finish? Okay, wait. Thanks for the clarification, Mama G. Powhatan. Let's trace the lineage of John Baptist's name that echoes through Louisiana colonial, indigenous, and Creole history like a drumbeat. See, we know who he is, y'all. You see what I'm saying? We know who he is. He was not the Caucasian that they just showed on the picture. And I wish these people who try to put this information out go ahead and break the whole narrative down. Don't show us these crackers. Don't tell us these crackers wasn't here. Stop playing with our history like that. UB, good video, but break that down, man. Don't leave it wide open for me to have to do it, because, hey, I will. So, John Baptiste, a name that echoes in Louisiana colonial, indigenous, and Creole history like a drumbeat beneath the soil. What we know about John Baptiste's lineage is Louisiana. We just read it pretty much. I think it's going to be about the same, but let's see. Let's see if they're going to try to say anything. The name John Baptiste or Jean Baptiste was extremely common in French and Spanish colonial records. Okay? See, this is another lie from the pit, too, that they told a lot of people, that a lot of records got burned. A lot of records did get burned. But guess so? How? Because a lot of niggas got took off the land and went to Africa. So why wouldn't they just get rid of them records and say, oh, whatever, burn the building down in their whole community? Because they done took over communities. They done took whole peoples out of communities. Let's look at how all this transpired, y'all. They done took whole communities out of places. And then they done put themselves over there. Listen, how do you think we got whites only town after 1903? After 1903. Because they wasn't here prior to that. Negro on Negro crime. If you will. These niggas want to use Negro, so I'm using it because they use it. But I mean, because I'm not gonna say Indian, because they done tarnished that because they didn't, because of the fact that a lot of people was doing Indian this, Indian that, but they wasn't lining up with really who they really were. See, because like at this point in time, like I say, I got so many relatives, man. I got Indian relatives, I got English relatives, I got French relatives, I got Spanish relatives. You know what I'm saying? How can you just say, oh, I'm Indian? Shit, I'm mixed with all this shit now. And I found my records, and that's how I know. But other than that, I'll be running around here just like everybody else. Because I ain't got no further than the 1800s, and I be running around here talking about I'm an Indian. But you got to go back, shit, to at least 1600. Well, no, I ain't going to say that. I take that back. Stop that. Because I got relatives myself in the 1900s. But they was Indians all the way through. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, in the 1900s, they still was Indian. Tecumseh died in Walla Walla Hospital in Washington. Chief Tecumseh, my cousin, he died in Walla Walla as an Indian. And I showed that record several times. But it behooves me how people can sit and say they are Indians, but they don't have no record to just even talk about it. I talk about that every day. If you know what I'm saying, before I sit here and be arguing with a nigga about who I am. So if you know you that, why you not proving it? I got issues with all of these gatekeeping niggas. They walk around here talking about everybody else's history. Talk about your history. Where is your history? It's still a mystery because you still talking about his story. I mean, I'm just trying to figure this out. I mean, everybody's arguing, everybody's fussing, but I don't see nobody show and prove. See, I used to like show and tell when I went to school. I used to like to have something to show and tell. But to just be talking about something and you ain't got nothing, man, I found a lot of problems in that. And I see a lot of gatekeeping. See, I see the real problem, and I see why it look like we losing, because I ain't gonna lose with these niggas. I know I ain't losing because I'm ahead of the game, and that's why I know the ancestors got me moving like I'm moving, because I get to see everybody. I get to see it all. And baby, when I tell you, I don't trust half of the people that I see because they doing too much. They done already got what you call perpetrators. Absolutely, they done already got like, ooh, y'all saw when he said you already done took the shot. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A lot of them already done took that vat. A lot of them already done. Listen, anybody know about that? Anybody know about that new diet thing they got these people taking called Ozempic, or something? Anybody know about Ozempic? I need to throw that out there because y'all know I'm Stop the Genocide. I'm the one brought that all the way to the community, and nobody acknowledge it or even think about it. To the day they still poisoning themselves. Ain't nothing I can do about it, but at least I know I brought it to the. I got poisoned in order to save a lot of people, and they ignored it. Yeah, I heard a nigga today say, I just come around so y'all niggas could smell my cologne. Now, why the hell you think somebody smelling your cologne on the internet? Oh boy, see what I'm talking about? That's a mindless, terrible thing to waste. But these are the type. But you want some niggas to smell your cologne, and 2-3 years ago, I brought to them and told them, look, the cologne is rat poison. The cologne is rat poison. Okay? Every time you squirt and spray it on you, I know you like to smell good, want somebody to smell you a damn 10 blocks away, but just know you smelling like a poison rat, because that's what it is. And they pack it and bottle it up for you, and you don't know it's got about 115 different chemicals that make that fragrance. Okay? And I remember when I was a little girl, they taught us to put it in the inside of your palm, rub it on the inside of your palm, put it behind your ears. You know what I'm saying? What spots is those really? What kind of energy spots are those? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Those Zempic, they say it's snake venom. That's what they say it is, y'all. I ain't quite researched it, but I know a couple people on it. So I didn't want to research because I didn't want to be compelled to have to tell them. But they should already know. But if I find out, I'm going to be like, baby, So I didn't. But okay. So we found out that John Baptiste was in that community with all the people that look like us, right? But then it says, often used as a first name. Wait a minute, hold on, I missed something. It says the name John Baptiste or Jean Baptiste was extremely common in French and Spanish colonial records, often used as a first name, middle name, or even spiritual title. That makes it tricky, but not impossible to trace a specific lineage. Okay, so it says this parish was home to free people of color, indigenous, family, and Creole. It says that his parish, that's John Baptiste Family Parish. Okay, y'all. So do y'all see my point? That the people that we just saw the picture of, that's what made me go there. Because they showed the white, the Caucasian. Them weren't any white people. Them just Caucasian. I don't even know what those is. But right, so time he showed them, I had to go and find it. Okay, Creole family, indigenous people. Okay, African people. Of course, they're gonna throw African in there, right? But it don't mean that they was Africans there, right? Okay. So it says records show John H. Baptiste, born 1854 in Louisiana, son of John Baptiste and Feeble. See, I just did a genealogy here, y'all. Okay? This is his genealogy. Phoebe Colbert, any Colberts, Colbert, later residing in St. Mary Parish. Other Baptiste family appear in Assumption Parish. Anybody know where Assumption is? I know I had some relatives die of consumption. Y'all know what consumption? Whoa. Point Coupee. Point Coupee. I never heard of that, y'all. Coupee. Okay. And New Orleans, often listed as landowners. Okay, you guys? Artisans and mariners. What's them Moors, ain't it? These are the French Moors, y'all. Listen, we're going to find out throughout the study. If y'all studying, y'all should already have found it. If you got your record, you should already found it. The Spanish, the Jews, the Moors, they was all together. Listen, it's going to turn out these people going to be something like Sephardic Jews and stuff that's here that we don't know, that we've been battling with. How about some Sephardic Jews? Because see, the Ashkenazi Jews is the Germans, the Russians, and them. That's the third right, the ones that we got in president now. That's who those people are. But yeah, they different from the Sephardic. So landowners, that them Creoles. So when you hear somebody say they're Creole, you already know they French. They got French blood. Possibly indigenous or maroon. Okay, y'all know about, and we know who the maroons are, right? They came up out of where? They claim they came up out of, what was it, South Carolina, Florida? Up and down that coast or something? But the maroons escaped enslaved people. That's what it says they are. Who intermarried with indigenous nations. These families often lived in swamp settlements or river islands, and their names were later recorded by Catholic priests during the baptism or land disputes. Whoa. I just got something. Hold on, y'all. You say Catholic priests was in Louisiana? Were they copper colored or were they Caucasians? Hold on, y'all. I got some. I got some came through my mind, y'all. Let's see. I do too, honey. I do too. I done got poisoned by this stuff, and I didn't need to because I was making my own stuff. But when I did it and I realized what had happened, I did it for the people. But the people didn't realize it. So, but listen, it's on record. A book came behind it. Stop the genocide, y'all. Y'all probably still can get it. It's got a lot of good information in it. Okay, let's see what it says. That's a deep, insightful question, Mama Chief Powhatan, and one that cuts to the heart of how spiritual authority, race, and colonial powers were entangled in Louisiana's past. Who were the Catholic priests in colonial Louisiana? Most Catholic priests in Louisiana during the 17th to the 19th century were European born, especially from France and Spain. They were overwhelmingly Caucasian. Y'all listening? Sent by missionary orders like the Jesuit, Capuchins. I never heard of them. Capuchins. I never heard of them. And I never heard of these. But I will be doing my research, y'all. The Vincentians, Vincentians, to convert indigenous people and minister to settlers. Y'all see? Okay. So you had Caucasian priests coming in to convert in Louisiana. Let's see what else. But that's not the whole story. Hoo-hoo. Let's see what the whole story is, y'all. Shout out to the 16ers up in here. What's up? Oh, y'all must be in the bushes. Hey, bush babies. Shout out to y'all. Listen. But that's not the whole story, y'all. Let's see what the whole story is. Were there copper-colored priests? While ordained priests of African or indigenous descent were rare in colonial Louisiana due to racial restrictions in the Catholic hierarchy, there were Black and indigenous catechists, deacons, and spiritual leaders. They had to have some help. Of course they did. Of course they had to have some help, right? Who taught, who taught, baptized, and led communities. Come on, y'all. Okay? Often without formal recognition. So they didn't even have to be recognized because they worked for the beast. These some of the slave catchers, if you will. These are some of them that helped, took you to the pastor, took you there to get baptized, took you there to get your, you know what I'm saying? To get your trust taken from you. Free men of color who served as lay leaders. Come on, y'all. We talking about Louisiana. Especially in Creole parishes like St. Augustine in New Orleans, which was built with the help of free Black families, y'all. Y'all listening? Mixed race clergy began to appear more visibly in the 19th century. Y'all, we know everything happened in 1900. Yep. After Reconstruction, y'all, this is when we really lost. Okay? And people started making up stories, start adding themselves in, start writing themselves in time when they wasn't even here. Am I making myself clear here? They wasn't here. This is what they call it, immemorial. What do they call it? When they writing themselves in memorial in time, they with 1,000 years, and no, you ain't adding yourself nowhere in my tree. Let's be clear. So they start having mixed people by the time the 19th century come along, especially in places like where? Haiti, Cuba, and Louisiana. So tell me, thank you, Alexis. You know what Mama T was trying to say, baby. You got me. Love you for that. Time immemorial. Yes, ma'am. So you got Louisiana, and you got your Haitians and your Cubans coming down through there. Okay? It says, though they often face discrimination from the church itself. One powerful example is Father Antoine Boris. Yeah, I get tied on with some of these things, names. Boris, Borias. What's that? Borias, isn't it? Borias. A white French priest which welcomed Black Catholics into his parish in New Orleans in the 1800s, even when it cost him his position. His story shows how race and faith collided in Louisiana. Why this matters, y'all. The church often reclassified copper-colored spiritual leaders, absorbing their role into colonial structures or erasing them from records. Excuse me. But oral traditions, baptism registries, and land records sometimes preserve their presence. So y'all, the records are there. A lot of records was kept. I promise you, records was kept that they said they got rid of because it's like they had to leave trails. I don't know why. It's like breadcrumbs and stuff for us, right? It says, if you're sensing that the copper-colored John Baptiste held spiritual authority, it's possible. See, y'all say, see, he was copper-colored, y'all. He was copper-colored. They didn't made him white. It's possible he was a community priest, healer, or a ceremonial leader whose legacy was folded into Catholic records under a French name. Y'all see what I'm talking about? A lot of our people got hidden like that. Okay, y'all, we're going to go back over here. So beautiful.
See visions of your love come true. No
Wonder what that is.
love is waiting there just for you.
Look, oh yeah, that's on it, y'all.
So let's take a quick map study. This map is courtesy of Megalithic Portal, United States, the South. I believe the website's called megalithomania.uk. I just want to say, whoever made this, shout out to you. This is an excellent source just to be able to identify mounds. So what I want to do now is, since we're talking about New Orleans, the French, the colonization, especially of the Mississippi Valley, and especially this area of the country, I want to particularly look at the area between Baton Rouge and Memphis. Now, when we jump to this map, look at all of these mound sites. Wow. Look at all these mound sites right here in the Mississippi Valley.
Wow,
and these are between the states of Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi.
Let me see if he got it
in particular. So just look at the number of sites that have been identified. Of course, there are many more that have not been identified. These are the sites that have been identified. I mean, this is literally hundreds, if not thousands of mounds.
Y'all.
Now, on this list, you can see that, there may be 100 mound sites here. But this is indicative of what? A much larger civilization. So you can see here that where all these mound sites are, the land has been literally plowed. It's almost ironic.
It's crazy
that most of these mound sites became plantations. And what happened on those plantations? People were enslaved.
Right.
But what we really have is the plowing of an ancient civilization. And we can see it with the farmland. Now, when I mention mounds that are unaccounted for, obviously, they're on these plantations. There are still mound sites on private land that private citizens will not give other people access to. So not only are there plenty of unidentified mounds that we don't know of, there are plenty of unidentified mounds that we kind of know of. Mm-hmm. So let's just take a gander at this area right here on the state line between Mississippi, Louisiana, and Arkansas. And a very peculiar thing about Arkansas, right? When I look at this map, you'll notice here, most of the map, especially when we get up past the Arkansas state line, there are no mounds identified in Arkansas. The only mounds that are identified in Arkansas are the Toltec mounds and a few other mounds, the Menard Hodges site. So there is still widespread plowing of mounds in Arkansas, and also widespread neglect and non-preservation of mounds. So you'll notice that all of these mound sites, especially once you get north of the state line, they're all only on the east of the river. We've always mentioned the forts along the Mississippi River. The French set up forts along the Mississippi. Now, contrary to what you might think, rather than going up the mouth, they didn't go up the mouth because that's obviously against the flow of the river. So although we're talking about New Orleans, understand that the French colonization happened in Canada first and went down the Mississippi River through the Great Lakes region. That's why you have cities like Detroit named after the French. So it's important to understand the route of colonization for the French. Although we're talking about Louisiana, Louisiana was the last place to get colonized along the Mississippi, the last place to get colonized on the Mississippi by the French. Their colonization of the Great Lakes region is what basically gave them access to the upper Mississippi. And they colonized from north to south, basically meaning that the forts that the French set up in the upper Mississippi and in the Great Lakes region, and obviously in Canada, are older than the forts in the lower Mississippi. So in terms of the forts downriver south of Memphis that were set up by the French, you have Fort Assumption in Memphis. This was in 1739.
We talked about that.
And as part of this story, the French used Indians from upriver to go to war against the local Chickasaw. And they were repulsed by the Chickasaw with the aid of the British. So this was a key facet of the divide and conquer strategy between tribes. Aid one tribe against another tribe. If you win a war against that tribe, you can take that tribe as slaves and sell them to us. If you win the confrontation with the other tribe, then you can take that tribe as slaves and sell them to us. This was a very essential part of their war strategy. Divide and conquer. And they used Indians to stave off the French. So at this time, the Charlatan's Web quotation says that the French were allied with Black and Native soldiers in 1739. There were no Africans in America, especially in the middle of the country, in 1739. The only few Africans would have been brought on French vessels, and not by the thousands. And we can refer to the transatlantic slave trade database to back up this information.
They show them pictures, y'all.
So when you're reading these quotes, you'll hear Africans, enslaved Africans, being thrown into the narrative. First of all, that was before the height of the slave trade. And second of all slaves from Africa that went through the port of New Orleans was less than 4,000 slaves, according to the database. And we can also back that up with the 1850 U.S. Census, which says plainly
y'all got y'all screen
that no more than 375,000 Africans could have been brought to the Americas, the United States in particular, at any given time. And this is the census in 1850. It was 100 million Africans taken as slaves. It was 1 trillion Africans taken as slaves. It was 12.5 million Africans taken as slaves. Pay keen attention to how they deceive through language. It's all a game. All these people are interconnected. These plantation owners were once royalty or related to royalty. And then later they were first or second generation politicians who were men of the military. And those men were part of the taking. And those lands and those plantations were all part of the spoil. Fort Assumption, 1739. Then Fort Rosalie in 1716. Fort Rosalie in Natchez, Mississippi. And this is a very significant location. And we've mentioned this before. But Natchez, Mississippi was a significant ancient empire going all the way up through the entire valley of the Mississippi. And right in that area, you can see that we have a ton of sites and some of the most significant sites as well. So this was all Natchez territory. So what happened in this area as well? If we remember, when the French set up their Fort Rosalie, the Natchez actually got tired of them infringing on their territory. The Natchez revolted against the French. And what happened to the Natchez? They were enslaved. Many of them, an innumerable amount, were sent where? To the West Indies, more specifically to Cape Francois, aka Haiti, aka Saint Domingue. You think all of those people in Haiti came from Africa? They didn't. They were Natchez Indians. And then from Haiti, they got sent to other places.
Yep.
There is proof on the historical record that Natchez Indians were sent by the hundreds to Haiti following the Natchez revolt. And subsequently, the Natchez that remained had to basically disperse into other tribes. Some of them joined the Chickasaw, some of them joined the Creek. Basically, the Natchez were disbanded. And they had the most influence in this area. As we can see that all the Natchez area, in addition to the Tunica and other tribes, but we can see in the Natchez area has the highest concentration of these mounds, basically north of Baton Rouge, all the way up to Memphis. And Memphis was really the Chickasaw area. The Chickasaw were allied with the British forces against the other tribes and the French. So specifically, we're just talking about this area. There are obviously more mounds everywhere, and I'm not even going to be able to get into all of these mounds. I'm only going to mention the most significant sites.
That's right, baby. You know I'm looking for it for y'all. I dropped it in all the chat.
Winterville Mounds, Charlton's Web quote. The Winterville site is a major archaeological site in unincorporated Washington County, Mississippi, north of Greenville along the river. It consists of major earthwork monuments, more than 12 large platform mounds and cleared field plazas. It is the type site for the Winterville phase, 1200 to 1400 of the lower Yazoo Basin region and the Plaquemine Mississippian culture. Protected as a state park, it has been designated as a National Historic Landmark. So you can see the artist renderings of what Winterville supposedly looked like. All of these conceptions are just created in their mind because they really don't know what it looked like. They're trying to imagine what these places look like hundreds of years later, in some cases, thousands of years later. And this is what we have. So be careful with all of these renderings because they really don't know what these places look like. And I don't know. I just have this weird idea that they look a little more advanced than what they're making them out to appear to be.
Me too. Yeah.
And maybe if I get some time, which takes a really long time, I'll try to recreate these renderings into something that looks a lot cooler and maybe more indicative of a high civilization, because that's really what we're talking about here. We're honestly talking about a high civilization. And the Winterville site obviously is evidence of this. And it's one of the biggest pyramids, or what we would call truncated mounds, in North America.
How long I've been on, y'all?
Quote Charlton's Web, Poverty Point is a prehistoric earthwork constructed by the Poverty Point culture. Thanks. Don't you got to love these names.
Now this is good.
Located in present-day northeastern Louisiana, evidence of the Poverty Point culture extends throughout much of the southeastern woodlands of the southern United States. The culture extended 100 miles across the Mississippi Delta and south to the Gulf Coast. So basically what they're saying is the Poverty Point culture influenced the surrounding area. And these are the only remnants left of the Poverty Point culture. The Poverty Point site has been designated as a state historic site, U.S. National Monument, a U.S. National Historic Landmark, and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The site is 15 and a half miles from the current flow of the Mississippi River. So this one's off the river and is situated on the edge of Macon Ridge. The village of Epps developed in the historic period in West Carroll Parish, Louisiana. The Poverty Point site contains earthen ridges and mounds built by indigenous people between 17 and 1100 BCE during the late Archaic period in North America. Archaeologists have proposed a variety of possible functions for the site, including as a settlement, a trading.
Y'all all right in the chat? Let me see, y'all okay in the chat? Oh, no, I don't want to leave. No. We don't want to leave. Okay, everybody all right in the chat? I'm just checking in on y'all. It was the PD and their Natchez cousins that killed 9 Catawba historical. Sure, it was a lot of more of them got killed too, baby, yeah. But you got that in a record or something? Y'all, thank you, sis. Y'all okay? Okay, that's what's up, y'all. We hanging out. We hanging out, y'all. I mean, we paid for it, y'all. We can hang, okay? So, but look, Royal had put something in the chat and asked me to look it up, and I did. Royal, I would love to have anybody who would want to come up sometime and build with me. If you got information you want to share, hey, we can make it happen. We just here to build. I don't want to fight with nobody, but I don't want to do this by myself. This is not, this is our fight, y'all. This is our fight. So the triennial census. The phrase triennial census typically refers to a population or demographic count conducted every 3 years. But in the United States, this is not the standard practice. The U.S. Census practice, the U.S. Constitution mandates a decennial census, meaning every 10 years. 1790, 1800, 1810, 2020. This census is used to apportion congressional seats, distribute federal funding, and track demographic shifts. Where triennial census might appear colonial or territorial records, some regions or colonial administrations may have conducted triennial head counts for taxation, military drafts, or land allocation, church or parish records. In places like Louisiana, that's okay. Catholic parishes sometimes kept triennial registries of baptisms, marriages, or communicants, especially in areas with large indigenous or Creole population. So it had a lot to do with Creole population. Did y'all get that nugget? School or agricultural surveys. Some local governments or agencies may have used a triennial cycle for school enrollments. We're talking about the French quarters and stuff down through here, right? Royal, is that where you at? Is that your territory? Or you just know a lot about a lot of different things? I noticed that about you, Royal. That's awesome. Thank you, though. Okay, so it says land use and surveys, okay? If you're referring to specific triennial census, perhaps one tied to the Louisiana indigenous land or a particular parish, I'd love to help you track it down. Was it tied to a land claim, a family name, or a ceremonial record you're working on? Let's uncover what they tried to count and what they tried to erase. That's what I'm talking about. I love this. You own property there. That's what's up. That's what's up. Okay. So I'm glad you shared that with me. Did everybody get that understanding? That this is something that was going on, doing a lot of head counts for a lot of different things. So let me ask the question. I got a question. I got a question coming in my memory, y'all. My memory, I tell you. Okay. It did tell me something. Wait a minute, let me go back. So I asked my question right. It did say the territory, didn't it? It said, it did say Louisiana, but it said, was it anymore? Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. Tell me other states that did that triennial. I know it wasn't gonna get that. I know it wasn't gonna get what I just said, y'all. It became country. It said triangle. Shout out to y'all that's in the chat. Tell me other states that did. Let me just put this in here, y'all. Because I ain't gonna be able to say it without this machine thinking I'm saying something else. Okay. All right, y'all. Here we go. Enos, what's up with you? I had some stuff up here. Which one of y'all? It's you all live and learn that likes to get those screenshots. Stay positive. You are powerful. Oh wow, y'all. So are y'all. Y'all are very powerful, and I appreciate y'all being the power that resonating with me tonight. Appreciate y'all so much. So let's go back to this right. Wait a minute. Did I finish? Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. I asked the question, didn't I? That's a sharp line of inquiry, Mama Chief Powhatan, and one that peels back the layers of how different regions track population, land, and labor outside the federal rhythm. While the U.S. federal government has always conducted a decennial census every 10 years, some states and territories did conduct their own census more frequently, sometimes every 3 years or triennially. These were often tied to taxation, militia enrollment, or land allocation. States and territories known for non-decennial census. Here are a few that stand out. Massachusetts, every 5 years, early 1800s. Excuse me. Taxation and school funding and legislative appointment. No, I'm sorry. Apportionment, y'all. You got that word broke down in 3 different places for me. Okay, I'm sorry. So New York, every 10 years, mid 1800s, state legislative redistricting and demographic tracking. Michigan, they did it triennial, required by the territorial law for militia and land distribution. So are y'all listening? When they say they was counting people every 3 years so that they can figure out where they at, so that they can do militia. Y'all remember was it yesterday we did the one where what it was called, the police district, the police, what was it? Police ward. Remember? Anybody remember that yesterday's bill, the police ward? And that was in Texas, wasn't it? Yeah, that was Texas. Okay, so while they got us concentrating on the 13 colonies, they doing all kinds of stuff down in the bottom too. Just like they were doing all kinds of stuff up top that had nothing to do with us, but they were studying doing, Okay, so Florida is the territory that does it too, y'all. 1830 to 1840s, used to track settlers, see, enslaved people, and indigenous population. So every 3 years they was counting us. prior to the 1790 census, what I'm understanding. Well, no, this is 1800. I'm sorry. This is after the 1790 census. Because the 1790 census had free white people, and they were our people because it was a status. They had land. They were already landowners. They came here with grants and stuff. So they was not white people by skin tone. They were white because of their status. And I know this how? Because I got documentation that beats conversation with my own ancestors in 1790, 1800, how that they was classified as white with slaves. Yeah, it was a tracking. It absolutely was a tracking. So Florida, Illinois did it too. Okay, remember, they moved people from Mississippi to Illinois. Oh, absolutely, and still are. So irregularly, sometimes triannually. So they just did what they wanted to do. They said irregularly in Chicago. I mean, Illinois. Okay? It says early state census for taxation and militia purpose. We're going to have to do a bill on that militia stuff too. Louisiana, territorial. So we know about them, right? These states and territorial census, that's what we'll call them, territorial census, often captured people omitted from federal counts, especially free people of color, indigenous family, and reclassified lineages. That makes them a gold mine for ancestral reclamation. Y'all, the gold mine, gotta go get them records, y'all. Gotta get them records. So it says if you're tracking a copper-colored John Baptiste or ancestral land in Louisiana, a triennial parish census might hold the missing link. Anybody tracking your family down there? Kibbles and bits, nuggets here, y'all. Go check out those trilineal parish census that Royal Land Lawyer 33 just dropped on us tonight. Thank you for that, lawyer. I appreciate that so much. Because it fits right in where we at, right, y'all? It was right on point. So it says that they might hold a missing link. Want to zero in, so it ready to go get some more work, y'all. Okay, y'all, we're gonna go back into this because are y'all enjoying this? Y'all good? Everybody good? 16 of y'all up in here. I wish I knew who you were so I could call you out. I'm gonna call y'all out. Royal, Enoch, Live and Learn. My sisters Sharon and Pachamama up in here. What's up in here? Chief, you still here with me, Chief? Ekamon and Papa up in here. I know they up in here. I know they still up in here with me, I hope. Alexis B, my first one to come in here with me today. Shout out to you, sweetie. I hope you're still here. If y'all get tired, y'all let me know. Y'all getting tired of me. All you got to do is say, Mama Chief, we ready to go and go somewhere else. But don't leave me. Just don't leave me hanging, y'all. Okay? Appreciate y'all so much for hanging out with me. Keeping me out of trouble, y'all. Y'all keeping me out of trouble. For real, y'all. For real, I appreciate y'all. Okay, so we're going to go back on this video.
Center and or ceremonial religious complex.
Poverty Point. Wait a
The
minute.
402-acre property, now operated as the Poverty Point State Historic Site, contains the largest and most complex late archaic earthwork occupation ceremonial site yet found in North America. Euro-Americans described the site in the 19th century. Since the 1950s, Poverty Point has been the focus of professional archaeological excavations. The earthworks are named after a 19th century plantation on the property. The earthworks, the culture is named after a plantation, one of the most sophisticated earthworks in North America, named after a plantation. So the real reason that this site is so significant is basically the sheer magnitude and the scale by which the people of the culture built, and obviously the size of the complex itself, and the fact that it makes a perfect semicircle and uses the riverbank. Basically, this is a mound masterpiece, and they date it to around 1700 to 1100 BCE. That's how they date it. That's what they say. I'm really not here at this point to argue their carbon dating. We've been debunking that. I'm not here to cape for the lack of antiquity for certain mounds or the full antiquity of other mounds. We're just going to use their numbers for now. We're just going to use whatever they say for now. You don't have to be conspiratorial to figure out that there's a massive cover-up going on, a historical cover-up. So we have this massive complex on the river, built approximately 1700 BC to 1100 BCE, basically 3,000 years ago to 4,000 years ago. So that is the significance of this site, Poverty Point. Named after a plantation in the land of plantations. So if you want to find some mounds, find a large plantation in Louisiana or Mississippi or Arkansas, for sure, or really any other state also. But definitely right here in this little area, as as I'm saying. Quote Charlton's Web, another significant archaeological site in Upper Louisiana. Now this one is in the River Valley, located off the river. It's in the Washita River Valley. Quote Charlton's Web, Watson Brake is an archaeological site in present-day Washita Parish, Louisiana, from the Archaic period. Dated about 5,400 years ago, Watson Brake is considered the oldest earthwork mound complex in North America. It is older than the ancient Egyptian pyramids or Britain's Stonehenge.
Wow.
Its discovery and dating in a paper published in 1997 changed the ideas of American archaeologists about ancient cultures in the southeastern United States and their ability to manage large, complex projects over centuries. What? Hey, man, did you know they could do things like this? Not in 1997. What do you mean? They could do a large, complex project? What do you mean? 5,400 years ago? Older than the pyramids? Bro, time out. The archaeologists revisited their date of the earliest earthwork construction by nearly 2,000 years, as well as having to recognize that it was developed over centuries by a hunter-gatherer society, rather than by what is known to be more common of other later mound sites, a more sedentary society dependent on maize cultivation with a hierarchical centralized polity. Let's stop here. Basically, they're saying that these niggas didn't farm. They didn't use corn or maize. These were hunter-gatherers. These people did not have agriculture. So basically what they're saying is these people didn't grow vegetables. They foraged like little chipmunks in the valley. The foraging chipmunks. They were hunter-gatherers. They were shooting deer and wrangling berries. Very sophisticated stuff. Like, listen, they built these mounds, but they could not understand the planting of seed. Follow me here. What that means is if this civilization was dated about 5,400 years ago and corn hadn't made it from 10,000 BC to 5,400 BC, well, maybe not 10,000, from between 7,000 BC and 5,400 years ago, all the way up into contemporary times of the operation of the Watson Break archaeological sites, they had no idea about corn. No idea. Even though them niggas a couple hundred miles down the road done invented this shit, apparently cultivated it. Them hybrided it, made these big corn cobs, feeding generations, making tortillas and little cornbreads and everything like that. They've been doing that down there. None of the corn ever made it north. You feel me? Here's what we know. Ain't no 5,400-year-old corn got nothing to do with this Watson Break civilization, okay? And I need you to understand that. Yes, Mexico had corn at the time, just hadn't made it all the way. You know, they were still figuring it out. You know, I'm saying we started to cultivate corn, but it wasn't really a thing yet. Now, the other end of the spectrum is, hey, this place couldn't have been before the cultivation of corn. Nah, absolutely not. These people specifically, they don't know much about what happened 5,000 years ago, but they know for sure these niggas was berry foragers. Not that there's anything wrong with foraging for berries, okay? And hunting animals for food, I get it. You gotta survive. But I don't care how complex of a mound you can build. I know for damn sure your stupid ass ain't about to put no damn seed in the ground and watch it sprout. You don't know nothing about that. You got that from Mexico. And we know Mexico and America, they're separated by a sea, apparently. We sure as hell don't have any traces of the Maya anywhere north of Florida. No, we don't. All right? And if they had corn, they didn't bring it nowhere. They ain't bring it nowhere. Did nobody walked a single cob of corn from Veracruz to Texas. Didn't do it. Corn never crossed the Rio Grande, my friend. Listen, guys. We radiocarbon dated it 27,000 times. And it must have been 3,500 BCE. You know, these are the same measures they use to date other places. So, yeah, whatever. We'll go with it. Oh, it's old. It's older than the pyramids. I had already mentioned the mounds on the campus of Louisiana State University, right by the stadium. So the LSU Tigers play right beside the mounds. And those mounds are even older than these mounds, apparently. Those mounds in Baton Rouge, which is another significant city, those mounds date 6,000 years. Man, you gotta love carbon dating. I just want to say that these mounds specifically have been dated to dates older than the pyramids, specifically Watson Break and the LSU campus mounds. There is a map of Louisiana mound sites where we know that they have identified somewhere close to 1,000 mounds. Actually identified 1,000 mounds.
Wow.
We have at least 2 sites in Louisiana that have been dated older than the pyramids. But the real question is, are these the oldest sites? Are there any other sites that are contemporaneous as far as the dating goes with these sites? Because that would mean that during the height of ancient Egypt, there is an entire civilization right here in the Mississippi Valley that would trump anything in terms of size and scale. Look at all these sites. Now, when you look at the map and when you zoom in, what do you see here? You see a lot of plowed land, a lot of plots, a lot of plantations. What happened here? Is the story being written on the land? I think it's interesting that during the time that the French were colonizing this part of the river, that they only built forts on the east side of the river in respect to their Spanish counterparts. What's going on west of the Mississippi? The Spanish have claimed this land, but they're not really fighting over it. And then you have all of these secret treaties. So I definitely want to highlight these sites here in Louisiana because they've actually been dated the oldest. It doesn't mean they're the oldest. I doubt they are. Imagine that. Imagine that. They just found the oldest site amongst the tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of sites that have been plowed and unaccounted for. They found the oldest one and dated it. It's Watson Break. It's older than all the other mounds around it. There was a code of silence that we're going to destroy the civilization and you'll never hear of them again. And then all you'll know about them will be from the renderings of what we tell you they were. Yes, nigga, they were berry foragers. And that's the oldest site. There's nothing else older than Watson Break. We found them all and didn't find none. Thousands of scattered sites right in the same area. Here was another earthwork in Louisiana, another significant earthwork. Troyville is a woodland period Native American archaeological site. So here's what they do. They find this site here, and then they find another one down the road, and they date them 2 different times. So they are, for all intents and purposes, unrelated under their template of classification. That's dated 100 BCE to 700 CE. They're in no way related to the Marksville. They're not related to Marksville. Okay, they're not related to Poverty Point. Not related to Watson Break, or the thousands other. Well, there's probably a few they're related to, but not them all. With components dating back from 100 BC to 700 CE. The Baytown to the Troyville Coles Creek periods. It once had the tallest mound in Louisiana at 82 feet in height.
What?
It once had the tallest mound in Louisiana at 82 feet in height.
That's an 80.
An 82-foot mound.
84?
It is located in Catahoula Parish, Louisiana, in the town of Jonesville. The site is the type site for the Troyville culture in the lower Washita and Tensas River valleys. Before it was destroyed, before Bridge approached Phil in 1931, the main mound at Troyville was one of the tallest in North America. Hey guys, we're building a bridge. There's a big mound over there, guys. So that's what they do. Hey man, we need dirt. Okay, who owns this land? There's a mound on it. Nah, fuck it. Let's take it down.
Yep.
The site is at the confluence of the Tensas, Washita, and Little Rivers. It had 9 platform mounds and a perimeter embankment that were built before 700 CE. A historian, John W. Monette, in 1844 described the complex as occupying close to 400 acres and noted the existence of 12 small mounds and 1 large one. The embankment was started during the Middle Baytown period, with periodic repair work taking place during the late Baytown period. All these periods, no relation, okay? None of these guys are related. The largest mound, Mound 5, known as the Great Mound, was 82 feet in height.
Wow.
It was the tallest pre-Columbian mound in Louisiana and the second tallest in North America. Its base covered an acre of ground and had 3 levels.
Oh,
The bottom, 2 rectangular, and the third on the top, a truncated conical mound. Monette described the lower level of Mound 5 as being 300 feet at its base and rising to the height of 30 feet. He described the conical mound at the top as 30 feet. Measurements for the smaller mounds at the site were about 12 feet to 20 feet in height, with bases measuring 150 by 60 feet. 4 of the mounds were surrounded on the southern and western side of the plaza by the embankment, which measured 10 feet in height, 10 feet in width, and 100 feet across. By the time of the Civil War, the mound had been reduced to the size of 50 feet in height. During the Civil War, the mound was reduced even further when some of its fill was removed to construct Confederate rifle pits. In 1871, the town of Jonesville was founded on the site, and more of Mound A's fill was used to fill ditches and level the land as the town grew.
Never know
the townspeople frequently camped out on the mounds during flooding. And once again, I believe these are not representative of what the places actually look like. And I do believe that there is a targeted effort to conceal even the grandiosity of these archaeological sites. So one thing you'll see, especially in these new renderings, they call them a truncated mound or a truncated pyramid. Back in the day, they used to call them pyramids in general. They built pyramids everywhere. They call them platform mounds now. What's a true pyramid? That thing with the pointy top. Charlton's Web quote, the Emerald Mound site is also known as the Seltzertown site. It is a Plaquemine Culture Mississippian period archaeological site located on the Natchez Trace Parkway near Stanton, Mississippi, United States. The site dates from the period between 12 and 1730 CE. It started at 1200. So this mound is not old at all in comparison to the other mounds, and in no way related, okay? The site dates from the period between 1200 and 1730 BC. It is the type site for the Emerald phase, 1500 to 1680 CE. Okay, this was a colonial mound, okay? This mound thrived during colonialism. So it was definitely used by the Natchez people, if that's the case. Guess we don't have to worry about who built it. And it was still in use by the later historic Natchez people for their main ceremonial center. The platform mound is the second largest Mississippian period earthwork in the country after Monk's Mound at Cahokia, Illinois. Are we sure about that? Are we sure it's the second largest? Because there's a chance that there's plenty of undiscovered mounds in other places that are larger. But I mean, look how big this mound is. You don't know anything about it. It's a post-colonial mound, okay? It's not old at all. The Natchez used it like yesterday, before they were all sold as slaves and shipped to Saint Domingue. Before then, the mound covers 8 acres, measuring 770 feet by 435 feet at the base, and is 35 feet in height. Emerald Mound has a flat top with 2 smaller secondary mounds at each end. It was constructed around a natural hill. Travelers in the 19th century noted a number of adjoining mounds and an encircling ditch that are no longer present. This site had 6 other secondary mounds, which were lost due to the plowing of the surface of the mound. I wonder how many other mounds that happened to. Right there in plantation country. Emerald Mound was stabilized by the National Park Service in 1955. It was declared a National Historic Landmark in 1989. They didn't give a damn about this mound until 1989. Before, it was just a place they would go get fill for dirt to build off-ramps. The mound is now managed by the Park Service Natchez Trace Parkway Unit and is open to the public.
They didn't want us to know.
I don't know this for sure, but I would have to say that this area has the highest concentration of prehistoric mounds than anywhere else in the country. It cannot be denied that this was once a highly populated ancient civilization. How many people do you estimate lived in this area during any given time on either side of the river, east or west?
How many people you think they really got rid of? That's my question.
So I want to bring up this overlay of the tribes who are in this area. And I mainly want to refer to the larger tribes. And specifically in this case, I want to talk about the Natchez and the Chickasaw, and to some extent the Choctaw as well. So we know for a fact that the Chickasaw was allied with the British during the skirmishes before the French-Indian War. The French were using Indians they had captured in wars and or became friendly with through all of their expeditions up in the Great Lakes in Canada, in Memphis at Fort Assumption, they were using Indians from Illinois. So they were using Illini Indians, Indians from the basin of the Illinois River, whom they had befriended, and they teamed up to go downriver to go fight the Chickasaw. The Chickasaw staved them off. The Chickasaw were never defeated by the French. Technically, the Chickasaw weren't necessarily defeated in the sense of war and battle. And here's the thing about these treaties. There were all these treaties that were signed between these European powers, in addition to other treaties that were made with the Indians, like the French making treaties with the Indians, like the English making treaties with the Indians. Now, when the French and the English are making treaties with the Indians, when the English are using Chickasaw warriors to fight the French, and you also have the French and the Spanish who aren't really participating, even though they own the western half of Mississippi, their armies and their colonial aspirations don't really seem to be exercised in this part of the country. Be all that as it may. We have the French using the Indians from upriver to go downriver to fight the Chickasaw. And we have the Chickasaw being used as a go-between and or a buffer in opposition to the French, but they're being used by the English. So after all these treaties are signed and after all these things happen, you have the French-Indian War, you have France giving or ceding the eastern half of the Mississippi between the Appalachians and the river. So when you have all these treaties, and this is during the French-Indian Wars, during all of this war theater, where all of these huge plots of land are given up. The Spanish aren't too active, but the French and British are active, and they're using Indians against each other. And the English especially, who end up, for this part of the theater, winning, they end up teaming with the Chickasaw. And they start slave raiding. But then after the war is over, and the Chickasaw have done all these things for the English, well, now we have the Revolutionary War. So any treaty that the Chickasaw had with the English and their help of staving off the French is no longer to be obliged. You see, you signed that with the British, and we just went to war with the British. We're the Americans now. So go ahead and move to Oklahoma. Get the fuck out of here.
The Americans.
Memphis is ours now.
Come on.
So this was a common part of their strategy.
Now given to the Americans.
Now, of course, during all of these skirmishes from the French-Indian War past the War of 1828, the Creek Wars, all of the wars that took place in the South, any hostile Indians were put on the plantations. They weren't sent to Africa, even though they did actually have a scheme to send, quote-unquote, freedmen to Africa, another back-to-Africa scheme, apparently.
They sent
or to Africa. They called it Mississippian Africa, where they wanted to migrate the free blacks to Liberia.
And they did.
We've heard that story before, haven't we?
And they did.
So you can see that these treaties, these deceptive treaties and the exchange of land between the colonial powers,
did anybody hear him?
They were able to essentially circumvent any treaties that had been previously made. Hey, as long as we change the name.
Right there. What's wrong with him? Y'all see the hijack? I'm sorry, you guys. I'm over here smacking a little bit. But listen. How in the world he gonna just glaze over that like that, y'all? Y'all know ain't gonna let him get away with that. King, what's up, King Kapala? Y'all know I'm not gonna let him slide with that, right? Is that your playlist of music? Well, baby, I don't have one yet. I don't know where you sent it to me at. I don't know where. I don't have one yet. Because I would play some music now, just to hang out, y'all, and kick it. Because y'all know I love that music. But did y'all hear what he did, though? The spin he did. They tried to send people to Africa. He said they tried. Why did he do that? See, these are the type of things I need for everybody that is listening to these people. Is catch the hijack. Catch when they lie to you by not telling you the truth. Don't put these two crackers up here. I mean, excuse me. This is a mulatto. And he got on a wig at that. He got on some makeup too. Listen, why you put these two people right here in our face and don't tell us really the truth about why it's like that? Because that's clearly a darker skinned person, right? Thank you, darling. You got my email? Or how you gonna send it? Yeah, let's dodge the hijack, y'all. Y'all know I was over here listening. And I had to just stop and make sure somebody else heard what he did. And then he turned around and said they tried to send him as freedmen. I got documentation that they went there, hundreds of thousands of them, and they left here as freedmen and African Americans, period. And they not only went to Liberia, they colonized. What's the next one? Nigeria. What's the other one? Y'all know them other three little places right there. We all over that place. Everywhere the DNA told me, because I did my DNA like 14, 15 years ago. Everywhere that it said some of my folks was from, it's because they took them there, or they was already you see what I'm saying? Well, they weren't over there doing no DNA of them people. Understand? So I automatically said then, I said, you know what? That's how many of my people they took up out of here. I already know. So when I did, and I got my app, and I went to the map and everything, they couldn't show me one soul over there. They couldn't give me one name from over there. So I knew they was lying. I've always knew they was lying about that. Because all my people, all my people ain't from here. But I got people from England and they ain't tied me to them. Well, I guess they did. Because that's how I got my genealogy. Through Ancestry.com. You understand? Through 36 years of researching. But I started out going to the library. Okay, cool beans. A wig and some makeup. Okay. Try playing them roles on us. Like we ain't never supposed to know. Y'all gonna stop playing with us. We understand. Okay, y'all, we're gonna finish watching him. But you're gonna have to stop. This is my first time watching you in a long time, and I caught a few things you didn't say and didn't do. And I know you know better, bruh. But shout out to you for this, because it showed a lot that I didn't know. So thank you. All right, you guys, we're going to finish this off. And I got some more stuff, because if y'all ain't tired, I ain't tired. I'm right here, okay? I don't go to bed till 2:30 most of the time, so I'm here for this. Let's see.
Hey guys, listen, the guys who are here, they're not here anymore.
Those guys ain't never been here.
They no longer have pull over here.
See
the Chickasaw didn't side with the Americans. The Chickasaw were Confederates.
He talking about.
You see how they're playing the game? Let's just call it what it is. They were being tricksters. They were manipulating. They were playing the game of divide and conquer between the tribes. They were setting them against one another so they would all die in war. Hey, let's go kill those niggas over there. Before soon, there's nobody left to fight.
What year you talking
And I want you to look at these rivers and these tributaries, because all they did is when they captured some people, they put them on a boat and sent them to another port. We can see that certain Indians were getting traded out of New Orleans, and they were just going to Galveston.
They weren't standing out.
Now we take this part of the map and we overlay the slave population. We can clearly see that the people who were enslaved on these plantations were the same people who had always been living there.
I want to stop there. Hold on.
And we notice that the slave population between 1790 and 18, the Chickasaw didn't side with the Americans.
I'm gonna stop that.
The Chickasaw were Confederates. You see how they're playing the game? let's just call it what it is. They were being tricksters. They were manipulating. They were playing the game of divide and conquer between the tribes.
Let me find that.
They were setting them against one another so they would all die in war. Hey, let's go kill those niggas over there. Before soon, there's nobody left to fight. And I want you to look at these rivers and these tributaries, because all they did is when they captured some people, they put them on a boat and sent them to another port.
That's true.
We can see that certain Indians were getting traded out of New Orleans, and they were just going to Galveston. Now we take this part of the map and we overlay the slave population.
Right now, I need you to find your last name. Look, if you can, look. Those are last name of indigenous people that was on this land. Wasn't nothing about no daggone Indian running around with no feathers, with none of that. Y'all see them names? Washington, Jackson, Jeremy. Listen, Washington right here. Morehouse, look, y'all. Winston, look. Clark, Wayne, Jones. Perry, Harris, Harrison. Look, y'all. Your last name is out here in this United States on some of this land. Yeah, okay. Let's finish this up, y'all.
You can clearly see that the people who were enslaved on these plantations were the same people who had always been living there.
Plantation about it, boy.
And we notice that the slave population between 1790 and 1860 jumps to almost 4 million, with the majority of those new slaves being added in the South. Slavery in the Deep South did not last from 1619 to 1863. Most of the slavery in the Deep South, especially along this area in the Mississippi.
Hold up. You just now wrote us into slavery and everything. I heard all that stuff you said. When you had them little Indians standing there with them so-called pale skins, talking about they ain't here no more. They ain't never been here like that. The one that we know today was not here then. I don't even want to hear no more of you, because you making me, we're going to end right there with you. You done. You didn't show us the information we need out of him. Y'all, I apologize, y'all, but bro started lying. Bro started not telling the truth. And he started cloaking. Sound like a real slave catcher. So, I ain't like that, y'all. I'm sorry. I ain't gonna give y'all the wrong. I'm not doing that. That is not what I'm here for. So, how y'all feeling in the chat? I'm over here munching on some fish and salad, y'all. Let me go right here for a minute, though. I just found some stuff that I kind of wanted to share. Like I said, I wanted to share some stuff about my folks because they was here. They was here doing big things. I love you back, baby. Thank you. Oh, peace and love. That's awesome. Listen, anybody ever seen a record or heard of a record a Oklahoma and Indian Territory record where people were literally okay, here we go. It's little, y'all, so bear with me trying to read it. I printed everything. Okay. Department of the Interior commissioner to the 5 civilized tribes, Kiowa, Oklahoma, September the 16th, 1908. This is one of my relatives' paperwork, okay? It says, in the matter of the proof of continuous residence within the Choctaw Chickasaw country of of Willie Taylor and his wife, Jeannie, their 2 children, Elizabeth and Johnson Taylor, and stepchild Alice Jeff, identified Mississippi Choctaw card number 558, schedule number 1651, 1652, 1653, 1654, and 1656. Approved roll numbers 928, 929, 920, 921, and 932, respectively, it says. Okay, y'all, I'm reading this is the Oklahoma and Indian Territory U.S. land allotment jacket for the 5 civilized tribes, right? From 1884 to 1934, our people had the chance to do this. And a lot of families did it because they was trying to hold on to the little legacy that they could. And they those that knew how to handle their business, they handled their business. Those that didn't, lost. My grandmama them lost everything. My grandmama them didn't know jack. Okay. So, I took that piece of fish in my mouth. I forgot I was talking, y'all. Forgive me. Okay. So, this is how this go. These people are finna be questioned. This is what this is. This is a questionnaire, okay? I got a lot of them. And they're finna be questioned about their territory or where they live, whether they stayed where they were supposed to stay, or did they go back to Mississippi, y'all? That's what this is about, okay? I'm just giving you a rundown on what this really is about. So, it's a W.P. Darnell being first duly sworn by the W.W. Verner. Oh, it's so small. Notary Republic in and for Pittsburgh County, Oklahoma. Testified as follows. So, this is the person that did the interview of these people. Okay? Here go the interview. By the commissioner. Question: what is your name? A. W.P. Darnell. That's the answer. W.P. Darnell. Question: how old are you? Answer: 51. Question: what is your post office address? That's what they used to, post office address. I heard somebody told me they got their post office. It's a trust too, y'all. It's a trust too. Oh yeah, I know y'all don't. Sometimes I just throw stuff out. Y'all have to grab it. Okay. So he said, what's your post office address? He said Kiowa. Okay. Mr. Darnell, do you know a family by the name of Willie Taylor, Jeannie, Elizabeth, and Johnson, and their stepchild Alice Jeff? Answer: yes, sir. Where did you first know these people? Answer: They were here when I came here. See, somebody, they interviewing somebody about somebody being there that's supposed to be there, right? Y'all with me? This is a legal document, y'all, coming off of Ancestry. Okay? It says, let's see. So the question here, they were here when you came in 1902? Yes, sir. Let me see. Yeah, I'm trying to read this. They make sure you, if you do get it, okay. Were yes, they living near Kill. Let me see. Were you, I can't figure that out, y'all. I'm sorry. It says, question. Were you they living near Kiowa then? They were living near Ashland then. Here then. Then here. They, this is the way they talk, y'all. Okay? I'm trying to read it like okay, people. But this is in 1908. We wasn't reading and going to their schools, and some of this stuff that they was doing at the time. But okay, he's saying, have you seen them frequently? Yes, sir. Very often. Do you know if any of them have ever been been a part, been affiliated, been but here you go, been outside of the Choctaw Nation? Damn, that's crazy. The first settled him when they first settled him. Since they first settled him, have they left since they first settled him? That's the question. Wow. No, sir. I think they never have. In fact, I am aware that they never have. Y'all see this? You are employed with the Maryville company here. Are you? Yes, sir. Has your company been selling their people merchandise? Yes, sir. I said these some the other day. I sold them some the other day. Every time they come to town, they come right to the square to me, and I sell them some goods. Then you have been selling them merchandise every time they come into town since you came here up to this present time? Yes, sir. What is the feeling of Willie Taylor in regard is appearing before the commissioner or the presentation and making proof of the continuous resident? Answer: I don't think it is very good. He has sort of wandered off and taken up with the Snake Indian. Wait a minute. Is that look like Snake Indians? What? I never heard of the Snake Indians. Have you? Indians. I have been talking with him, and he said he is going to quit them, but I don't know whether he will or not. So these are documents, y'all. Excuse me. These are documents that I have. Let me see if I can read this one a little bit better. Department of Interior commissioned to the 5 civilized tribe Choctaw Land Office, Atoki Indian Territory, August the 7th, 1903. In the matter of the proof of the settlement within the Choctaw Chickasaw country of Willie Taylor and his wife Jenny Taylor and their 2 minor children, Elizabeth and Johnson Taylor, and his stepdaughter Alice Jeff, duly identified Mississippi Choctaw, approved list of identified Mississippi Choctaw, gave her the numbers, okay? So this is them asking him questions about himself. What is your name? Willie Taylor. How old are you? 27 years, I think. Y'all hear that? YFG, how you doing, baby? Good to see you. Great continuation. He said he think he 27, y'all. This is in 1903. Okay. He asked him how old he was. He said he 27. He think. What is the name of your father? Answer: Bilbo Taylor. Bilbo, Bilbo. What is the name of your mother? Meroline, Meroeline Taylor. Are you married? Yes, sir. What is the name of your wife? Jenny Taylor. What is the name of her mother? Answer: I do not know. Have you any children? Yes, sir. How many? 2. Their names: Elizabeth and Johnson Taylor. Did your wife have any children before you married to her? Yes, sir. What were their names? Lundy. The other one is Alice. What are their full names? Ludy and Alice Jeff. Are all of these children living with you? Answer: one of her children, Alice, she is living with me. Question: they are all living with you except one? Yes, sir. Ludy is married. Have you ever been appointed guardian for Alice Jeff? No, sir. You are advised that the commission will require that your wife, Jenny Taylor, who is the mother of Alice Jeff, make the selection of lands in allotment to mild minor child. Y'all hear this? I don't know what this means to anybody, but do y'all hear this? These are some of the documents that I have in my records. So this was them moving them off of the Mississippi land, okay? Taking them over here to this what's this? What it was in Atoke, Atoke Indian Territory in Oklahoma. And then because he hadn't adopted, it was about him, right? And he hadn't adopted this child. So in the little note down here, you are advised, you know, you got to go ahead and adopt, put some papers on her or something. You see what I'm saying? They was handling their business like this. Okay. Anybody got any records like this y'all seen before? Anybody got nothing to say? Okay, y'all. I just wanted to share that. Now I'm gonna go to my my highlight. Well, how long I've been on here? It's 12 o'clock. Go to where I really wanted to highlight. I'm gonna talk about my great grandmother. I found out some information about her today. I found out about her a while back, but I did some more research to find out really what life was for her, right? And hmm, everybody know about the indigo, right? The color blue, whatever. Is that what they call it? Indigo. I ain't got that deep into it because I just found out about it today. Um, let's see here. Let's see where we're gonna go, y'all. Um, you know, I want to put this out too, y'all. It's a lot of people. Y'all getting tired of me. Y'all leaving me. Okay. Y'all sign off, y'all. Whoever's is still in here with me, so I know who I'm talking to. Okay, please. Okay, thank you so much. Um, okay, so it's a lot of people doing a lot of things, y'all, and I just want to put this out here because I ain't talking about nobody like it ain't something I've done, but I had to grow and learn. You know, a lot of things that people learn and do, but I want to share a scroll that I created today based on the fact that um we we don't understand how powerful we are, and we don't understand what we really possess in here. We all right, baby, thank you so much. We think that it's about money. I talked to two people today, and they don't get it. All they think about is being rich or getting some money. And I'm pointing out, well, you see these niggas being rich with the money, but they didn't do nothing with it to help. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, all these niggas done almost lost all their richness. They've been rich for 30 years, but they didn't do nothing to advance our people. They didn't do nothing to get us on because they know. Half of these niggas know it's so many slave catchers out here. So when when you hear somebody like what we just heard today, and you hear that's when you say, okay, you just eat the meat and spit the bones out. But still, at the same time, you understand that they're working on another agenda. They not on the real truth, cause they'll pump the truth out every time they see it. Every time they see that miss what we just saw, they will pump it out. They'll say, oh no, that don't go there. That's misrepresentation. You see where I'm going with that? So when I say gatekeepers in the midst of you, I don't need them around me. I got too much I'm working with. So I appreciate the ancestors keeping me at peace and keeping me where I can be, in my space without having a bunch of fake, phony, weirdo people around me trying to steal my energy or steal my space. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people hate you because they ain't you. Just be clear of that. No matter what you're doing, it's a lot of people hate you because they ain't you. So you got to guard your energy with all diligence. You got to protect your soul and protect your heart. And that's what keeping a lot of foreign people that don't think like you away from you. So I appreciate my peace. And I appreciate the time that the ancestors just love on me and take care of me without having a physical person around me that is stuck on some money or stuck on some dumbness, and they don't have a clue about what's going on. So I appreciate myself. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like the idea that our people are giving in to so many things I saw a girl say, she did a video about it too. Somebody might have seen it. She said, y'all, I can't believe I was kissing this guy and my lips started coming off. She holding it in her hand and I'm looking at her like, damn, is that a real lip? People are gluing fake lips on. Have y'all seen that? I'm like, oh my goodness. They're doing the most. They got these eyelashes on. They got false eyes in their eyes. And then their eyes is running while they're trying to talk and be being sexy. And their eyes watering up. The eyes watering up. They look like it's hurt. The eye look like it literally hurts. And I'm looking at these people like they do all this. They're trying to make a viral video. They do all of these things to themselves to try to impress somebody that they'll never meet. Okay. The most of it is that they got us where we're selling ourselves short. And everything is about trying to have more of what you need. They got plasma centers in our communities, right? I talked to some Caucasians about that situation some months ago. And they said the reason why they don't have plasma, they say theirs is whole blood. They don't really separate the plasma off of them. So, but they're in our communities. I don't know where you live, I don't know. But they're definitely in our communities, okay? And I had the opportunity to create a scroll because my scrolls are documented work of everything that I've worked on. So I had to do this scroll today, and I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. We've been through 3 hours, y'all. I ain't gonna keep y'all no longer, but I want to leave this with y'all, and I'm gonna talk about my great grandmama another time. I didn't realize I've been here that long. I forgot we did a video. But I just wanted to keep myself out the trouble, keep some of y'all out the trouble. So I hope I served the purpose, and I hope y'all got some out of this live. But this is called the Bloodline Affirmation, y'all. Bloodline Affirmation Scroll. And each scroll that I create, they carry a lot, y'all. This one here carries a sentence affirming my lineage, okay? It said, my blood holds 22 generations of sovereign memory. I am the offspring of copper-colored royalty, born of earth and starlight. My veins are not for sale. They are archives of resistance. Number 2, ancestral whisper scrolls, words directly from my lineage, spoken like prophecy. We knew how to speak to plants and rivers before paper ever spoke. Your breath is borrowed from those who refuse to kneel. They took the land, but not the root. We are the root. Okay, y'all? We are that root. Warning scrolls for children, simple but piercing. Come on, y'all. They want your blood because it remembers. Never trade your essence for coins. Your life is not disposable, it is sacred. Healing protection. Fold these into medicine bundles and sacred pouches. Okay? This body is sovereign. No system owns it. My blood sings in frequency older than umpire. I am the seventh fire. I do not burn, I awaken. So, wait a minute, hold on. That's not, I'm not done yet, y'all. Yeah, you like that? You like that? This is work that that we all should be doing because we gotta leave a legacy, y'all. We got to. So hold on 1 second. Let me pull this up right here. I think this is the one I was trying to get to. I didn't get to the. That was just a little outline or something. Let me see here. This one right here. Okay, here we go. I got rid of some. Okay, to the guardian of the memory, a scroll of warning and remembrance for my two grandchildren and seven to follow. You come from 22 generations of copper skinned brilliance, whose bone fortified the mountains, whose laughter seeded rivers, whose name survived the blade, the Bible, the census. Let no one tell you you are common. Your blood is royal, not by paper crown, but by earth decree. You are born of chieftains, seed savers, astronomers, gold keepers, and women who bled beneath two suns and still rose singing. And that is why they want your blood, because your blood sings, because it remembers, because it holds frequency no machine can replicate. Those buildings in your neighborhood, labeled plasma centers, they are modern day extraction chambers. They smile at you while they siphon sovereignty because they know you are the descendants of those who mastered breath before the flood, who walked pre colonial maps now buried beneath zip codes. They know your blood carries code of healing, memory, and revolution. Do not offer it for paper dollar. Do not offer it to ease the rent because they are harvesting more than flood. They are trying to rewrite bloodlines. I want you to know who you are. You are the echo of the warriors who never signed away their names. You are the prophecy of those who pray in languages banned but unbroken. You are the seventh fire and the one who were dreamed into being when we were stolen off around this land. Come on, y'all. One of ours has now become an ancestor. My grandson, y'all, my grandson. Shout out to you, Kel. It is not your time to follow. It is time to remember. Y'all, it's time to remember, y'all. All of y'all in the chat, it's time for us to put on our ancestor remember and remember the blood because it has memory. Okay? It has memory. So I give you this scroll with my watermark and my love etched in its fabric. Place it where you can see it. Speak it loud. The illusions grow heavy. When your illusions grow heavy. And when the world tries to tell you that your worth is transactional, say no. Say, I am sovereign. Say, this blood is memory, and memory cannot be bought. Come on. Empower and protection, Mama Chief. Listen, y'all, it's up to us. Like I said, if we're going to do anything, y'all, it's up to us. Um, Y'all still up in here though, huh? Well, I guess I'll go ahead and do this part about my great granny then. Let me see what this is. Whew. Now, let me see. Let's give her her place. Now, about her place in your lineage. I'm just going to read where I'm at right here, y'all. I ain't going to go too far. It says, if she's your great grandmother and you're speaking from the 19th forward, she's likely your 6th or 7th great generation, which she is. So let's go. Okay. So this is the scroll of the indigo matriarch. Y'all, I told y'all about the indigo, right? She's from Antigua Bay. And thank you. Okay, so she's from Antigua Bay. Her father was the governor of Antigua Bay, and her name was Eliza Pinckney. Okay, so the name of this scroll is Indigo Matriarch, she who dyed the sky. Okay, because of the blue. To the children of my children, know this. You had a grandmother who could turn leaves into lightning. She was not a myth. She was not a maid. She was the indigo matriarch, the one who stirred the vats before sunrise, whose hands were stained blue from memory, not label. She didn't just grow indigo, she commanded it. She knew when to plant by the moon, how to coax the color from the leaf, how to whisper into the water until it turned to sky. They called her agricultural, but she was alchemical. She turned cotton into cloth, ashes into soap, and indigo into inheritance. They stole her methods. They bartered her formulas. They wore her clothes and called it fashion. But they never named her. So I name her now. I place her in the scrolls. I seal her in the parchment. I lift her from the footnotes and place her in the foreground. She is the reason your blood remembers, huh? She is the reason your hands know how to heal. She is the reason your skin glows like copper kissed by indigo dust. She is yours, and you are hers, forever dyed in truth, from the bloodline of the blue flame, Mama Chief Powhatan. That's Eliza Pinckney, the indigo matriarch, my sixth great grandma, right there. And then I got the address to where they from, y'all. I gotta go to Charleston now. After after the day, all the messages I got through the ancestral realm, I got to go to Charleston, and I even got an address where they used to live. So I'm on a mission. I wanna walk in on the places that they walked on. I wanna travel the land they was on. Georgia is just came on down the line because I got my migration record all the way from Virginia all the way around through here. So yeah, y'all, it's 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 it's, it's something else to talk about your own folks. I can't talk about no other Indians. I can't talk about no other um copper colored Europeans. All I can do is talk about mine. You know, that's all I can do is talk about mine. So I wish I would love to have this channel to be like that, where other people would come over here and we could talk about our families. You know what I'm saying? Oh my Bible. Ugh. And we could talk about our families, right? We could talk about what we know about our family, not what these people that gave us these narratives. Everybody needs to be breaking a narrative every day. Everything they taught us, you need to be saying, let me find this out. Because hey, the truth is out here, yeah. It's out here. And if we don't get it, it's our fault. If we don't get the truth, it's our fault. You know. And let me do this. I'm gonna do this because y'all still up in here. As long as y'all hear up in here, I'm gonna talk. Because I ain't tired yet. I'm not ready to go to bed yet. So, that's right. If you leave, I'm gone. I'm gonna go over there and get in trouble probably. But look, I wanted to share this with y'all because I had to flip my book around last night. Okay, so I forgot they said 22. But it's 21 generations, y'all. I'm looking. I don't like to tell lies, so I'm looking at this thing. It says 21 right here. But I thought I saw 2 somewhere. I think I scratched the 2 out. No, I scratched the 19 out. Okay. So this is like my 21st great-grandfather. And his name is Pokikano, Morning Ripple, Winter Wintercock. Okay? And he was born in 1470. And he supposedly died in 1520. Then the next is son. He's the son of Pokey. He's the great chief Elsinore. And he was born in 1500. So these are my chiefs. So in all actuality, I never knew I came from a line of chiefs. Okay? I ain't know nothing about. I researched. Like I said, I've been had all these records and I ain't never really read them until, I started doing YouTube. I started reading stuff, and that's how I came to understand some of the history, some of the mysteries that I've uncovered, right? So I had it set up, my book set up with one. You want that spelling? Let me. P-O-E. Yeah. You know who it is. You know who that is. Cuzzo. And then it goes on down to who? Amapotuski, Nonoma, Scent Flower, Algonquin. Then you got Princess Morning Flower. This is my genealogy, y'all. Okay? This is from the 21st great-grandpa of mine. And it says relationship between Pokikano, Morning Ripple, and wow, me. Okay? I mean, I'm excited to talk about my relatives. I don't want to talk about the other folks. Somebody else talking about they wasn't slaves. No, my folks wasn't slaves. I ain't saying wasn't none of my folks enslaved, but they wasn't no slaves from nowhere. And the only way that I can make that clear is that I talk about it and don't be in other spaces talking about some slave mentality bull crap. I gotta stand on my family, and I can't speak for nobody else. But and then it goes on down, y'all. How many that was? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Winasuki, Native American, USVA, U.S. Virginia. This is the daughter of Princess Morning Flower, one of the 6 clans of the Shawnee. Y'all see how many different tribes is tied in into this one line? See, all the rest of them old civilized and all that stuff they done made up, they don't even mean nothing to me. Because I know who my people is. I ain't trying to figure it out by talking about other folks and keep talking about, the reason why I'm alone right now is because everybody in my family want to be a slave. Everybody want to be a slave. Everybody had 4th of July yesterday, but me, I'm not going to participate against my own self. And that's what the Moors say. That's why they said that they was never supposed to go into the military over here because they would be against their own self. But that's what we don't understand. But like I said, now the next name on here is Ka-Oki, Native America Potomac tribe. That's the daughter of Nonoma. Then you got Antonia Mary Nachi. Then you got Otona, named after her mama, but she's an Elizabeth. See, she got the same name her mama, but she got Elizabeth instead of Mary in as her name. But these are Christian names in here. By this time, see, this is what I'm saying. Looking at the records, by this time I can see this record and I can know that the Christians that came up in here. Mary and Elizabeth. Come on, y'all. Y'all know them biblical names. It don't take a rocket science to see that they done been Christianized by then. But they still was indigenous or Indians or whatever y'all want to, however that word go. Niggas say, oh, that's a social construct. Well, if it is, they was using it in the 1500s. But no, these niggas say we wasn't speaking no English. We wasn't writing no English. They said we was a bunch of dumb people living in... I don't have these records. Okay? I'm just here to tell you, I got records to go back to royalty. I got documentation where they was writing the deeds, the land deeds. This is not... They lying. And we still got gatekeepers out here doing the same lies. So this is what I'm going to always be doing over here. Clearing the record and stating the narrative. 19th generation. See, and all of these right here is on my mama's side, y'all. I got a few on my daddy, but my mama, this is what they always say. What they came and married into the matriarch. The records stand for themselves to show that I got more of them on my mama's side than I do on my daddy's side. But I got them on my daddy's side, don't get me wrong. But I can flip these pages and find more on my mama's side than I do my daddy. Okay? And shout out to all my cousins. Shout out to all my cousins. See, I have to go all the way back down to the what's this? I'm down in the fifth generation now. Watch this. George Washington, Trent, Myra, Trent Carter, Joseph, William Carter, Sally Carter Norman, Pauline Norman. Y'all see them last names? These on my mama's side too. But these, y'all see what generation we in? This is the 5th generation. Okay? 5th generation. But here I see this 5th generation great grandma right here. She got on the Dawes Road. I got her. She's on them roads. Her, and her. Wait a minute. This is my 5th great grandma. Oh, there go Polly Jones Williams. This is my 5th great grandmama. Her name is Polly, Pailey, Jones Williams. She's born in 1801. She's my 5th great grandma. She's on the road. Her daughter, Esther Williams, she's on the road. Her daughter, Julia Williams Carter, she's on the road. Sally Carter Norman, she's on the road. Pauline Norman Kaya, she's not on the road. That's my big mama. That's my big mama, right? She didn't get on the road. Her daughter didn't get on the road. My mama didn't get on the road. And I didn't get on the road. But all 1, 2, 3, 4, all 4 of them are on the road. But all 4 of us ain't. You see what I'm saying, y'all? That's 8 people right here. That's what I'm talking about, because you already know. You already know. But that's what I'm saying. It's going to take a movement of indigenous people, Indian people, whatever they want to call themselves, who got their records to get together and get this business. Because these niggas who are running over the Sinetta, these niggas who are trying to prove to somebody without a record and just talking about all the shit they done read in the book, they still spewing narratives. They still spewing narratives all over the place. Huh? Ain't nobody put no truth out of there. Ain't got no truth. They still reading the white man book or some nigga Pan-African book. I'm not with that. So y'all see what I'm saying with these names though? These are last names. These are not Indian names. That's why a lot of people talk, oh, my folks on the, yeah, but they on the road because they ain't on the road because they Indian. Look at the time frame, 1800. These are Spanish. 1800, these are the Spanish. By this time, these are the real Moors. They keep trying to tell us. These are the real Sephardic Jews. Do your research. Find out who these real folks, who these folks is really in your tree. Gotta love them. Blood running deep in your vein. But these are, like I said, the reason, and so what I had to do, because I had like the first generation in the front of my book, right? And I had to remember, see, this is how they throw us off too. The 21st generation goes in the front of this book. Are y'all with me? The 21st generation goes right here in the front of this book. And then the 20th, then the 19th, then the 18th, then the 7th, like that. And go all the way back down to number 1. Huh? And then that's the last. Really? So the 21st is the 1. And the 1 is the 21st. Are y'all with me here? See, they done flipped this shit. Me, man, they gave me these documents and I've been walking around and talking about 17 generation. No, that's my first. 21. That's my first generation, y'all. Y'all see how it go? They had me all disbogulated. I'm over here talking about, well, my 17. No, that, I keep saying 17 because I just found them other 4 or 5, y'all. So forgive me for the number discrepancy. But yeah, so now my 21st generation here is my first generation. It's at the beginning of the book where it belongs, not the last. So I honor all my ancestors right now, and I give them all. Oh man, listen, y'all don't even understand. I wish I can just put y'all right here and see what I'm holding in my lap. All these generations, all these names. Here go my great granddaddy Collins Roberts. In 1830, they say, but I got a discrepancy because I'm looking at his name. And I got to find out when this man is. Because we got to remember, we're talking about royals who were running things. They was the one manipulating these books, and they was the ones. Are we clear? These were the people. So when you see a discrepancy, you have to say, who did it? What we on the when, where, how, all that stuff, right, y'all? Yeah, we're gonna go. But look, Collins Roberts, he had free white person. 1. Free white person, male 40 to 49. These are age, yeah. And that down here it says total all persons 30. Free whites, slaves, and free colors. These was my grandparents. These was my great grandparents. These was our people, y'all. There wasn't no pale skins here like this. When they came, they started having riots. They started having whites on the town. They started doing Jim Crow. They started doing segregation. Because they came to take from you. But the other people, we didn't lose. We didn't lose during the 16, 17, right? We lost in the 1900, y'all. We didn't even lose in the 1800, even though we had the Reconstruction and all that. But we really lost in the 1900 when we lost all our Wall Street, when they came with the guns and they took all our buildings. Margaret Sanger, all them came. They started making plans. They started doing all, bombing us. Come on, y'all. Raiding us. They had those guns. So, I mean, like I said, I'm looking at like maybe, what, the 1600 was the first, when we first started getting last names. And it was the English, but they were Black Royal English. Okay? Let me show you what I mean when I say that. Because they got niggas saying, ain't none of that. Ain't none of that. Oh, shout out to my Roundtrees too. Thomas Roundtrees, John Roundtree, Joshua Roundtree, Edie Roundtree, Winnie Anderson. Yeah, the Roundtrees and the Andersons go, yeah. Shout out to all my ancestors. And those are on my father's side. See, that's what I'm saying. Those Sephardic Jews. We got to understand. Them Andersons, them black, and the black Blaylocks, because I got Blaylocks too. Tompkins. Y'all, shout out to the ancestors, y'all. Shout out to the ancestors. I'm looking for the ones where the Royals. I'm trying to figure out what year, where they at. I think it's probably in the, here they go. Let's see. Great Ellington. Okay, yeah, these are my lady and my lords, okay? Thomas Paine. Y'all, ain't that a president name too? See, I'm telling y'all, these y'all, I'm telling y'all, I got these folks in the Virginia, then the Jefferson, the Jack, oh my goodness, they haven't stopped. Thomas Paine of Great Ellington. See, that's over there. That's over there. That's over there. Thomas Paine Jr. of Great Ellington. Alice Margaret, Lady Paine. 11 great grandma. Look, they ain't never been over here, y'all. They ain't never been over here. Walter Child, son of Lady Paine. They ain't never been over here. Who came over here is right the Tompkins. I think the Tompkins right here. The Marks. I know the Marks came. And see, that's like, the Marks is like shit, 3 people from my granddaddy. You see what I'm saying? Do y'all see? I mean, I can show y'all on Ancestry as well. I can pull Ancestry up and show y'all what I'm looking at. Because I really need for people to understand that, you know, people are lying to us, man. They're lying to us. I mean, I even got one relative that said that they came over here on their own boat. Just, I mean, because I got stories, right? These was people who were royal. They was able to keep their records. They was able to keep their stories intact. So I got stories of some of them saying, we came over here on our own boat. Okay? Came on their own boat. And when their brother got here, they sold them some of their land that they had. Don't ask me how. But these are some of the stories that are in my family records that I've located over these 30-something years. So all I'm saying is that if everybody who is called themselves teaching don't have no records that they can show me, I don't want to hear them open their mouth no more. I really don't want to hear them talk because I think they apply what you call it, a mold. I think they sit here to do what they're doing, and that's to keep confusion. But some of us are here to break the spell. And that's why I'm here, y'all. I'm here to break the spell. I'm here to break every narrative. And I'm here to set the record straight. You know. So with that being said, anybody got anything they want to say? Anybody want to come up? I'm always extend the invitation. Peace and love to you, Echoman. I hope you and your papa have a great evening. Reconnect? What do you mean reconnect? I'm not talking. What happened? Oh, me and you? Okay. Okay, no doubt. I've been seeing you on TikTok. I kind of be want to go over there sometime, but I don't like to be censored. I don't like that censorship they have. But yeah, you guys, appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I ain't all the way tired yet, but I'm going to get off of here and let y'all go. Because 3 hours is long enough, y'all. Y'all know I don't like to do them too long, but it's hard to do short videos when you're trying to make a point. I appreciate y'all so much. Shout out to my Bush babies. And shout out to everybody got love for Mama Chief. I appreciate y'all. You said the genealogy and history is reconnecting families. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, y'all. Y'all the best. You know it though, right? Like I said, let's make something happen, y'all, because we need a team. We need to be going down there talking to the president of this corporation. See, we need to put them in place. We need to let them know their rightful place. See, because somebody got to do it. Somebody got to do it, y'all. We can't be scared on our own land. We can't be scared talking about our own ancestors here. Y'all saw all them foreign people go to Stone Mountain talking about they were calling on their ancestors from their foreign land. How y'all think that work? How do y'all think that work if all your ancestors dead up over here? I'm just saying. I don't understand how people think territory don't mean nothing to nobody. Y'all better get it right. Because the ancestors is counting on us. Everybody always talking about their ancestors, but I don't see nobody really honoring them. Please let's honor our ancestors, y'all, so we can get out of this mess. It's a more spiritual walk for us right now. I don't know what y'all feeling. I don't know what y'all doing. I don't know what y'all on. But for the 9 that's up here in my chat, y'all listen to me and I'm telling you now. It's your business. It's your business. And it's your fault if you don't prosper in it. Because your legacy is waiting on you. It's waiting on you, baby. I promise you it is. And look, y'all, I'm finna go because I could stay here and stay here and stay here. But but I'm gonna go. And I love y'all much with the you. And we'll talk tomorrow. Tomorrow is the whatever day they call it. I try not to say a lot of stuff out my mouth no more, y'all, because they done cursed me for a long time. I done learned not to curse myself. So y'all have a good evening, and I don't need nobody that word no more either. Good continuation, y'all. Great continuation. I'll just keep my great continuation in my mind. Great continuation on your journey. May you have a fantastic voyage. Rest well. resurrect, revive yourself, and resurrect in the AM. Peace, love, and light, y'all. Love y'all, honey. Thank y'all. Oh, Goddess, you still here? Thank you so much for hanging in with me, sis. Appreciate y'all. Y'all the best.